And then we moved on to our special picks, because originally we weren't allowed to pick an artist we had already had, other than every 10th pick. So this was now our 10th pick. So I picked Paramore, since it did so well the first time, and at the time was the highest rated album. Spoilers. I picked Paramore's new album, or newest album now, Paramore After Laughter. And that scored... You claim you come in with the silence, but you just don't. You just interrupt.
And that rated.
Literally,
like, there is a direct correlation between what he said before and what would have been said after if he'd got there.
I'm so sorry. Carry on, Denver. I'm so sorry.
And this...
I don't know. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Shut up, Joe.
I don't know how to not do this. I'm sorry.
And I was thinking, I don't think this will do as well as the other album. I mean, going into album review, this was my favourite album. Like, if someone said my favourite album of all time, I'd probably say this album, because this is the album that made me discover Paramore and then led on to me hearing all their back catalogue and how all their back catalogue is great. But because I heard this newer stuff first, like, I still like this, unlike people who necessarily liked old Paramore don't like the new stuff. But it only scored 26.
And that is because of me. This was another controversial one, because I rated this one a whopping 2.
It's your lowest rating, Joe. So you're saying this is the worst album we have done?
No. Awfully regret giving it a 2. The issue was, for me, much like much like the Fallout Boy album, where like Will and Aiden listened to it and compared it to their old stuff and was like, their old stuff's much better, and that's kind of how it got downrated. It was kind of the same with this one. Although you guys genuinely do enjoy the new music they're putting out, I just think since the members of the band left, it's just not the same anymore. And I don't want to be that guy who's like, oh my god, it's not like your old music though, but it's like a complete change. And although I definitely would, I would honestly give it about maybe a 4 now. I think it was just depressing me how much it changed. It started the whole reggae meme, because I said it was a bit reggae because it reminded me of playing like Far Cry 3. You know, the music in the little cars when you're
it's not reggae
in them. And
How
it's
does
not
that remind you of that in the slightest?
Because it's like quite Hawaiian and quite.
Oh my!
Quite. It just feels very exotic. I don't know. I'm just.
I mean, it does.
Words.
What I do like that you did actually attempt to give a reason there. But what you actually did was Googled the new album, and in one of the lines it says one of the songs was slightly inspired by reggae.
It literally says it in the Apple Music description. Yeah.
And so you sauntered into album review, slapped your cock on the desk, and was like, "This is a reggae album." No, it fucking isn't.
First of all, I'm going to be quite honest and say that I never saw anyone ever mention that it was slightly reggae. I didn't. Why would I read the Apple Music description? They can't find metal albums
ripped off Wiki.
Yes, it's on the Wiki.
Again, didn't really.
To be fair, actually, you're right. It's bad for me to assume that you would have done any research.
Yeah, because I don't think I've done that
ever.
For any album that we've done, which I'm going to start doing. Right. But that is my reason. There you go.
But this album did have a first. It was the first time we'd all agreed on the worst song.
Oh yeah!
Oh yeah! What a terrible song!
I forgot that this song existed.
Because it is so bad. Like, I gave this album a 9.5 because it was almost like it's my favorite album of all time. But I couldn't. It's not now, but it was my favorite album of all time at the time, but I couldn't give it a 10 because it has a terrible song on it. No Friend. It's like not even any Paramore in it. It's just awful.
Yeah, awful song.
Very reggae.
Very reggae. Too reggae,
Aiden gave it a 7.
Yeah,
Will gave
fine.
it 7.5.
It's alright. It's not as good as their other stuff. I like it a lot, but I much prefer Oh, Paramore.
Yeah, I'd say the same. Still think it's really good though.
Moving on from that, Will, not even Will, Joe had a curveball pick. So obviously, 10th pick, we have to pick an artist we've had before. And Joe picks Post Malone, Beerbongs and Bentleys.
I did, because I thought I was very pleasantly surprised by the last Post Malone album. Thought I was going to hate it. Actually ridiculed Will for picking it. And then kind of liked it. And I was like, I want to hear more of this, but I don't want to listen to it in my spare time. So I'm going to pick it for album review, force myself to. And I did. And yeah, still, I think I ended up liking it a lot more. I don't think the album was necessarily better. I think I just ended up getting into Post Malone more and just starting to like his voice and music a little bit more.
I think this album, even though the best songs, I don't think were as good as the best songs on his first album, but there was more good songs on this album. Like, I think I had about like maybe 6 or 7 songs that I liked on this album, whereas his first album was kind of like, I really liked the top 3, but then was kind of a bit meh with the rest. It scored 26.5 overall, the classic good score.
Didn't deserve it.
Disagree.
Aiden, not a fan.
That's me. I'm here, and I'm here to say, Post Malone, not as good as you think he is.
I think
Wake
you should
up, sheeple.
leave.
Wake up, sheeple.
Leave.
He's not that good. He's
He
just
is
a homeless
good.
man.
So you don't think he's any better now?
I wouldn't say that he is better now.
I liked that. That was good.
Thank you, Joe.
Oh yeah, I guess you could say. I need to find it.
Just stay.
I guess you could say Zach and Codeine. You're
Guess you
always
could
the
say-
same bitches.
You know what? I wish I had some candy paint to paint this
Oh, yeah?
wall with.
To paint my 92 Explorer.
And that's the name of my penis.
That makes me rich and sad.
And paranoid
Yeah,
at the
no,
same time.
This album was just slightly worse than the other Post album, and I was just like, man, even after that, enough has changed. But then Miracle happened, Circles came out, and I was like, you know what? I don't mind this. This is fine. So maybe I do like Post now.
Along with every Lynx FM DJ.
Yeah. I mean, I got.
Oh.
Sorry, no, go on. What?
No, Karen, sorry.
No, go on.
No, you go on, sorry.
Because all you were going to do is go, no, I really like this album. It's like,
No, I was just going to say that I gave it a 9.
Oh, look, you're going anyway.
9.5,
You're going
alright?
anyway, are you?
Yeah, because I'm have to defend myself
Well,
now.
fuck you don't have to defend yourself.
Right, are we going to fight again?
Are we fighting?
Is it wartime?
It's fight time. Remember, help me get through the Ardennes.
Don't worry, he'll never think about the Ardennes.
It only works once, though.
It does. Then what you do is you just build another forest.
I mean,
In
just
the
buy a
flank.
house.
If you're homeless.
Well, if you're homeless, just buy a house.
Yeah,
And
but
watch out
Boris
for
is
the-
chopping all homeless people in half.
Homeless people. I was literally about to make that joke. I'm going to chop all homelessness in half by 2020. Scratch Boris, but all right.
I mean, it will eradicate all homelessness.
It will. Just looks at small child. You homeless? Pulls out katana.
Imagine that, just like we hired elite like samurais to go around killing all the homeless.
That's our next video.
A lot of people like being homeless, don't they? Though.
Fucking, they love it. It's exciting.
That is like, I
my
imagine that
God.
is something a politician would say. The homeless like being homeless. We don't need to fix this problem.
Look at him. He's rummaging through KFC bins and he's fucking loving it.
But to be fair, compared to America, though, homelessness is not that big of a problem here.
If anything, it's it's
That's
obsolete.
because there's less people, to be fair.
Nah, it's
Yeah,
obsolete.
but even like as a percentage.
Will, are you homeless?
No.
100% of people aren't
Have a
homeless
home.
from a study that I just did.
That's right.
So Post Malone scored 26.5.
Didn't deserve it.
Deserves better.
So then Will's thinking, what do I pick now? The one I was going to pick has been taken.
Yeah, literally.
But he picks the 1975, the 1975. which scored 22.5,
Boo.
which is less than the other one we reviewed.
It's because it was worse than the other one we reviewed.
But this was still pre like the light bulb moment of the 1975, where I still hadn't. I liked some of their songs, but I didn't love them like I love them now. Hence why I think I gave it less. I gave it a 6 as opposed to a 6.5 that I gave the previous album.
I mean, this was like that OG 1975 album.
Well, it's the first album.
He's not wrong, man.
That's exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was interesting to listen to, but just like you said, it just wasn't as interesting as or good as the other one.
But there's like, when I listen back to this album now, there's so many other songs that I didn't even consider for my top 3 that I love. Like, I just thought, like, I think also having seen them live does even their weird songs make a lot more sense live. So I think most of their albums I would give like an 8 or 9 now.
Why though?
Because I love them.
I feel like this is just that you're just blindly loving them.
Maybe I am. I mean, I'm like looking through everyone's top picks, and like I'm looking at Joe's like Heart Out, and I'm like, oh, I fucking love that song now. And like City isn't in anyone's top 3s, and I love that song. It wasn't even in my top 3.
It's one of them things, isn't it? It's
like you're Chocolate.
We're all, you know, the important members of CT. We all love Mayday Parade. And maybe we are blinded by like how good they are, you know? And I can respect that you would probably feel the same way for the 1975 Matty Healy and his old drug habit that's eventually turned into just pure insanity in a human being.
I love it.
But that's fine. It was an average album.
Go on, Will. I really like it. I think I gave it the most.
You did. You gave it a 7. I gave it a 6.
Yeah.
Joe gave it a 5. Eddie
Was
gave
this
it a 4.5.
before
This was
Leeds
still
Fest?
before Leeds, because you picked them, I think, because we were going to Leeds soon.
Because I was like trying to pick albums based on the fact that it was Leeds Fest soon. No, that was.
So wasn't that the whole reason? Like we picked, like after this week's albums, the whole next week of albums, we picked just because you guys were going.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, for a while. Like I mean, we'll get to them, but yes, you are right. If you look through them for like the next 6 albums or 7 albums, there's like quite a few Leeds Fest ones in there.
Oh yeah, there is. Didn't even realise.
Yeah, that's the reason we did it back then.
Because do you remember, you were when you picked 1975, you were about to pick Shawn Mendes.
Yes, I was. Because I actually did, didn't I? And then you was like, "Are you doing Leeds Fest?" I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot." And then that's when it changed to 1975. So Shawn Mendes is still yet to come up again.
Fucking love Shawn Mendes.
I would like to listen to him again.
But yeah,
What a
would
guy.
again score much higher if we do that album again. But I only gave it a 6.
Same.
Can we talk about Shawn Mendes again for like 10 minutes?
What a handsome guy.
Fucking so humble. My God.
Such a great guy.
Real kissable.
So when we get hundreds of thousands of subscribers,
Right. I
we'll be
like
able
you
to
said when and not if.
It's
No, when.
happening.
Right.
What album review will become? We'll actually be able to get in.
Yeah, we'll get the guests on.
We'll get whoever's album we're doing. We'll get them on, and then we have to like insult their albums to their face.
Will, you know that you obviously flexed.
That'd be
and
different.
You got Posty on Instagram, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just DM him? Be like, listen.
But we haven't. Oh, we'll have to do his new album.
I don't want
We'll
to
get
be
him
one
on.
of those people, bro.
No, be that guy. Be like, look, we're really terrible, and we review albums. What do you
Imagine.
reckon?
I think the format then would be you get them on, but don't let
Don't
anyone
tell
know we've got them
Yeah.
in, and they can only talk once we've done with their album review.
Yeah, it would be like, great, that was great. What do you think?
Yeah, but the
Post
thing is,
Malone?
if you slate the shit out of his...
Yeah, I would. I would.
But that
would not
right, that
allow
would
you
make it so
to do that.
interesting, though, wouldn't it? To like,
Oh, come on.
if you
Well,
actually
do you know what
have
it'd be like?
the stern to actually just, as we do now, because obviously we freely talk about albums because we're like, fucking no one's watching this. Whereas if you're the artist who sang it and put like all their effort and soul into it, and we just slate it.
He's shit.
He's
See,
not though.
I was thinking about that the other night. Like, I would hate for Against the Current to hear how Aiden spoke about them.
Yeah, but why does that matter?
Because it just does. Like, there's like no reason. It just feels bad.
They'd probably agree with me. They'd be like, yeah, it was that in that album. It was the case that these people came up to them and were just like, look, just make chod.
I have put in like the description that we are not professionals and that it is all just opinion. And
I beg to differ. I feel pretty professional.
I think the day that comes when we hit what is it to be able to monetize it? Is it like 1,000 subs and
yeah?
When we hit that and we make money from it, theoretically, we are professionals.
Yeah.
Actually, as a musician,
shut the fuck up.
Yeah, moving on.
I wanted to say, and I've now forgotten it.
Well, it probably wasn't very important. Then, was it?
It was pretty important, to be fair.
Nah, probably wasn't important.
I know what I was going to say.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody watched Zach Galifianakis's interview thing he does?
I've watched the show
between two ferns.
I've watched the Netflix thing.
Oh yeah, I watched.
And he just slates the fucking celebrity. It's so good.
Did you see the one he did with Obama?
Yes.
That was good.
There's some proper class ones, but it just reminded me of that when you were saying about like slating to their face. But the thing is, that's jokey, whereas ours kind of isn't that jokey, and like imagine the Tyrone Wells.
Yeah, but Tyrone would love me.
We didn't rip into Tyrone that bad.
I did.
You see, there isn't a single. There's not been many. There's not been many artists where we've all ripped into them.
I think Flood of Red would probably be the worst. We really did shit on Flood of Red.
Yeah, we did.
We were mean about them.
Yeah, well, don't make shit music.
And that's the kind of artist we'd be able to get on as well, because they're doing fuck all.
Yeah. I mean, they're not even a band anymore, are they?
I don't know.
No idea.
Yeah, it would be difficult to get. Imagine trying to get Bon Jovi on. Is Bon Jovi even live?
Bon Jovi, tell us about your greatest hits and how it still wasn't a 30.
I was going to say, aren't they all dead?
All of them.
I'd like to get AC/DC on and just hit and slate them.
Oh, I fucking hate AC/DC.
Oh my god.
You're right there.
This would be in the day though when, to make it even more awkward, we'd all be doing it in person and then we'd have them around.
We'd be face to face with him. Like, because how old is he? He doesn't
shit.
even sound anything like what he sings like, does he? The lead singer of AC/DC.
No. But anyone can sing like that, though. That's why they can just replace their lead singer.
Imagine if we got Kanye on, guys. Fucking ripped.
To be fair, I could not get him on.
I'd get him on.
Because of...
I'd really
dislike him too much.
Have you seen that man in interviews? He just doesn't...
He just interrupts like Joe.
Yeah, I was going to say, he just doesn't function as a human being.
Steve Jobs is dead. I'm dead. It ain't no joke.
Oh my god,
Kanye, what are you doing?
Anyway, next album. Aiden's pick. Who went for Panic at the Disco, Pray for the Wicked.
Oh, that's right, baby, another 30. Ooh, it's
now, do you remember we did this at YogCon?
We were at YogCon.
When we reviewed this.
Shout out to YogCon.
Shout out to YogCon. And then this beat the record for the best album, and now is still the best album. Spoilers.
Yeah,
it's got 35.5, so it beat Paramore Brand New Eyes by 0.5.
Yeah, but it still beat it though, didn't it?
It also got the first 10 awarded.
Woo!
For perfect
by
album.
Yourself.
By myself.
It wasn't even me. I didn't do it.
You rated it. Oh no, you and Will both gave it an 8. But it's because it was at this point. It was going into Paramore when I slightly changed how I did ratings. Like I no longer rated each song individually and then just got the average because I realized that just caused a lot of like mid-range albums. Because nobody makes an album where every song is like a 10. It just doesn't exist.
Unless you're Brandon Urie.
Because, you know, like, if every song's really good, it kind of lowers your tolerance to what's really good. If you can know what I mean. Because you just get, like, null to the greatness of it. It's like, you know, like, if you had, like, really great food every day, you just kind of be like, eventually, you just be like, this is just how food is. Like, it would no longer taste great.
Do you reckon that's the reason people decide to go homeless and really enjoy it?
Maybe. Because then every little thing is like brilliant.
It's special. They're like, look, I just killed this raccoon, and like, I'm going to eat this. In fact,
to be fair, that time he didn't interrupt.
He didn't.
We just both did it at the same time.
It was Joe. Come on, Joe. You come.
I once had like a panic attack and fed a homeless man because I was panicking. So this was my 21st night out, and
you count your night outs.
We attempted my 21st, my birthday. Yeah, and we tried to get into that place. Someone didn't have their ID. People had already paid to get in, and then they had to come out straight away. And I felt bad because they'd paid to get into this club. I started feeling really bad about myself as a human being, even though it was nothing to do with me. So I went into a takeaway and bought like a massive portion of cheesy chips and a Coke can and went and gave it to a homeless guy because I felt really bad.
I do not remember this happening.
He was lactose intolerant and he's dead now.
Yeah, it's because you guys just were walking away.
Eat some cheesy chips. No, I can't eat it. No, come on. Eat
it!
Just look.
This drunk guy forcing it down his throat.
But anyway, on the album, not a bad, like, I remember listening to it and thinking, there is not a bad song on here. Every song in its own right is great. Make it really hard to pick a top 3. But, yeah, fantastic album. The best album I've listened to, probably. And I would still say to this day, is the best album I've ever heard.
Bloody hell.
It's just got no bad songs.
Exactly. Like, even though, yes, other albums have songs I prefer, but, like, it has loads of brilliant songs. Like, just absolute bops. And then even the worst song that I rated Old Fashioned, I still really love that song. So when you've got an album where every song I love, how is it not a 10?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone else have anything to say about that album?
Not really. I give it a 9.5. I think the thing is I was debating actually giving it a 10 myself, and the only thing that stopped me was that like you say, the difficulty is like all the songs are bangers, but like I know I'd prefer other songs and different albums, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was tough, and I think I still stand by the 9.5 because there's other music I'd rather listen to, but hell of a good album.
I mean, I think at that point it was your highest rated album, right?
I think so, yeah.
And where was the what did you give the metal one?
I think I gave most of my metal ones a 9.
Just to try and bring them up.
Come on, boys, we're getting there.
No, it's because they're great.
Wrong.
Look, you guys.
I love that the rest of us are like, anytime it comes to any other kind of music, we all sort of like agree to disagree. It's like, yeah, it's subjective. Like, music's all it's about what you love, and it's really inspiring. And the moment Joe pipes up, he's like, "Oh, I got this really fuck off, Joe. Terrible metal album. Fuck metal, am I right, guys?" And we're all like, "Yeah, multiple high fives."
Fuck metal.
And then we like feed homeless people and stuff.
Man. I like some metal.
You like? I thought you were going to say I like some homeless people.
We haven't found it yet, Will.
Well, Pierce the Veil apparently classes as metal, so.
Well, it's alternative, isn't it?
No, they're metalcore.
Nah, that's alternative.
Ugh.
That's Apple Music for you.
And also, this album was the third and final album so far to be a true 30.
Yeah.
It's only so there's only been 3 albums we ever actually got through 30. So that being Shawn Mendes, the first Paramore album, and the second Panic album we did, where everybody scored it a 7.5 or higher.
2 of them were mine.
And best album to date so far.
Definitely. Cheers, Brandon. We'll have you on the show soon.
You say definitely, Aidan, but you gave other albums higher.
Nah.
Incorrect. I think you gave Mendes itself higher. In fact, you gave the other Panic at the Disco album higher.
Well, Well, look, all right. There's no need to point out my hypocrisy. No. I mean, the difference being is that, like, although I fucking love the Panic at the Disco Pray for the Wicked album, and it definitely deserved to be the highest. It was it always falls down to I've heard it too many times, and I hate that as an excuse. But like sometimes you can't shrug off the feeling that something has less meaning to you because it's been overdone. Like you say, rich person eats rich food every day, wants to become homeless man. It's the age-old story. Well, it's going to be a metal album. Joe said so.
Because again, like similar to Paramore, Panic at the Disco I've only liked since that album's been out, so I've never like looked forward to a Panic at the Disco song coming out, you know. And same with Paramore. Like Paramore haven't made any more music since that last album, and I didn't even know of them until that album came out. So I've never like had the opportunity to look forward to it. It's like why I'm so looking forward to hearing the 1975's new album, because again, they've released obviously individual songs, but not an album since I've been a fan of them.
Do you reckon if you don't talk about 1975 for one day, Denver, your head will explode?
Yes.
All right, good.
Next up was the Hunna 100. Again, picked this because they were playing at Leeds, and this scored 27.5.
Surprising.
So pretty across the board, everyone was pretty happy that this was a good album.
I don't remember it doing that well.
You gave it an 8, did you?
You gave it the highest.
Oh my god!
It's one of these, Joe. He loved it. Never listened to it again.
Yeah, I mean, thing is, I used to listen to Bonfire, and Piece by Piece, like before this album was picked. That was in my playlist. But other than that, I can't really remember the other songs. I can't remember liking it that much either. I might have to go back to that and just listen again, see if I'd still rate it the same. I don't know if I would.
And also, the second album where we all agreed on the worst song. We all agreed "Rock My Way" was the worst song.
And the second favourite song.
Yeah, second favourite, Piece by Piece.
By everyone.
God, the thing is, I'm looking at this and I don't remember any of these songs.
You did pick the oddball ones. Like, I can't remember. I can remember my top 3 and Bonfire. So my top 3 being You and Me, Piece by Piece, and She's Casual. But I can't remember Brother or Waiting.
Brother was that. Brother.
Wow, is the Hunna here right now?
Alright, I'm not singing properly.
Gets actually actually hurt by it.
Oh,
come on, guys, fuck off! I'm not actually the Hunna.
I was just thinking, do you imagine how big actually would have to be in order to just be able to pick a random album and then be able to get that artist?
Listen, Capaldi, come on now.
Especially for like an hour.
I think the issue is, I think none of us would be
ourselves.
Yeah, that, and we'd all be awkward. 2, we wouldn't be as brutal.
We'd get used to it.
I don't know.
That's why we have to start off with smaller artists, like.
Yeah, that's even worse. Though I don't think I could be critical to the smaller.
Yeah, but what you'd be like, right, Tyrone, listen to our back catalogue, see how we hear about things, see if you still want to come on.
Tyrone's not a small artist, though.
He's one of the smaller ones we've done.
Definitely a small artist.
Like, Matty Healy ain't going to come on, is he?
Can we get some metal artists on, please?
No. They are the smallest ones.
No, they're all being so relaxed by their music, they'll just fall asleep.
Joe, you can have your own series.
Joe interviews metal music. I really like how melodic it is. He's like, oh, we didn't use melody, we just smashed bands together.
They just tear apart Joe's own, like, compliments.
Oh, fuck you.
Well, maybe next time. Hunna, not very memorable. Sorry.
Not very memorable, but we did rate it well, so it must have been good.
Yeah.
Saw them live though, and they were shite.
What?
Oh,
they were shit. At Leeds Fest, they were terrible.
I disagree.
Oh,
Like, he could not hit the notes. It was shocking. He kept having voice breaks.
Mum and Dad are fighting again.
I can't believe they said that.
I honestly thought they were so bad live, but
I thought they were alright.
because Lisa, my girlfriend, loves them, and she thought they were shit as well.
Lisa, my girlfriend.
Yeah, I feel like I had to say
Not my
that. So it's not a
sister.
random person.
Don't worry, if you take back what you said,
I
I'll
have a
cut out that
girlfriend.
bit.
Oh, you'll cut it out.
I'm not taking back what I said because I think
Well,
they were shit.
You're
live.
gonna look like an idiot now, then, aren't you?
Yeah, when he replaces the word girlfriend with sister.
I've just got to get
My
a
girl
soundbite.
sister.
Got it. He said sister. I can use that.
What are you doing, step bro?
Next up, Motionless in White, Disguise.
Yeah. So again, another metal album. Honestly, another one of my favorite albums of last year. I'd rate this again in my top 3 with I Prevail. I Prevail first, Motionless in White second favorite album of last year. Absolutely banging. Can't go wrong with it. There's a few cheesy songs on there, like the worst song, Broadcasting from Beyond the Grave. Again, a song that we all agreed was the worst. Oh no, it wasn't, because Denver just picked a random song because he didn't know what to do and he knew they were all shit. Oh no, or was that Aiden that did?
Got him.
I don't know, because you picked Code, didn't you, Denver?
Yes.
As the worst song, which it just definitely wasn't. But yeah, a few cheesy songs on there, which is why it got downgraded to an 8.5 from me rather than a 9 or a 10.
Oh no.
But god, just banging album, thrash it out. Melody, his voice is really good. They've matured a lot from
Thrash it out.
Thrash it out. They've matured a lot. They're not as emo as they used to be, although they still kind of look emo.
So can we point out that it's the worst album cover I've ever seen today?
Oh my god! Even the music videos, they are awful to look
They're
at.
fucking terrifying.
I'm not a big fan of the album cover, because I don't think all the videos. So I don't think it
Who
represents.
Who enjoys that? Like,
Nobody.
my god, it's
Literally
horrible.
So the thing is, we're looking at this, and obviously Joe's saying, banging, thrash it out, and everything. But it's probably easier to list the things I like about this album than it would be to list all the things I would dislike. So let's start with the things that I like.
So yeah, it scored 16.5.
Will surprisingly give this a 5.
Yeah, when you discard the lyrics, the music itself isn't that bad.
I think that's the problem. You can't discard the lyrics.
But I kind of did because it
cringy.
They are cringy as fuck.
Will
It
had
was
an
cringy
accident
as
that week,
fuck.
so he was a bit delusional as well.
Had
But I
he?
just thought, it wasn't that bad.
What accident? What?
He's joking.
What?
I mean, it's the only explanation, isn't it, for why I'd give that a 5.
Well, that he's fucking brain dead.
Yeah.
Because I just thought it was alright. There's no screamo. It's just...
What do you mean there was screamo?
No, there wasn't. There
It
wasn't
would
any.
be a 0.5 from me if there was
There
no.
genuinely was no screamo.
Literally, listen to it back. There has to be.
There's
I don't remember it
There-
because I've completely blocked it out of my brain.
not. I'd say a good
70%
70% of the album is screaming.
No, it isn't.
Oh, look at that, Will. You were talking bollocks again. It must have been the horrible accident you had. Are
It
you okay?
genuinely has no fucking
Are
screamo.
you
As a-
okay
as a-
now?
There's no screamo.
Get up,
There's no screamo. None.
Will, just listen to I don't know, the first song.
Just listen
I
to
can't remember
it.
there
Screamo.
being.
It doesn't matter if you can't remember it. There was, and it was terrible. And it's actually the worst rated album I have to date. It's a 0.5. If you combine together the
Great
cringy music with the cringy album and the cringy lyrics with the fucking terrible screaming, all you get is literally nothing.
Disagree with everything he just said.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you disagree, Joe. It doesn't matter at all because we disagree with every high rating you've ever given any one of these pieces of shit.
Next up, Will's pick. So obviously, Will's thinking Leeds Fest coming up. Want to pick a Leeds Fest artist. Goes for Foo Fighters, The Colour and the Shape.
Sorry, I forgot to mention, did you guys enjoy seeing Motionless in White at Leeds Fest?
That was a Joe pick.
I know. Were they even there? They probably were.
I don't
Were they
know.
there?
We didn't see them.
No.
I don't think they were. They'll be a download if anything.
Oh, of course. Yeah, sorry.
Let's hope
Foo
the speed's
Fighters.
slow so they won't turn up.
The Foo Fighters. Fucking hell.
Wow.
The colour and the shape. It was 1997. Fuck me.
Scored 24.
You got a lot to say about this, Will? Because I think you rated it the
You
highest.
did. Well, the rest of
Yeah,
it agreed,
because-
apart from Will.
I really like Foo Fighters, and to me, it's a very nostalgic album.
I think,
And while I
yeah.
don't think I'd probably rate it as high as what I did then, I don't know. I don't skip them, but they're not as good as I remember them being. But then I think, like Aiden said earlier, it is a case of I've heard them that many times that it's become a bit like it's devalued it a bit for me.
Do you
But I
reckon that the reason that you gave it such a high rating is because you felt obligated to do so? Because they
I
are
wouldn't say
seen as
obligated.
I think so, yes.
legends, quote unquote legends.
I wouldn't say obligated. I grew up like they're one of the first bands I'd ever listened to.
Maybe, but there was a lot of chod on this album.
It's
I don't
again,
think so.
this album I felt like it was proof of like, because I was looking forward to it. I was like, I like Foo Fighters, but it's the classic thing of like,
You like 5 Foo Fighters songs and then all the rest.
yes,
of
and then they're across all their albums.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, I don't think I listened to this and I didn't discover any songs I hadn't already heard. So my 3 favorites were the 3 favorites I knew. In fact, no, I did probably know more of them, but like I knew Everlong, but like, and I didn't put that in my top 3. But yeah, and it was a bit disappointing
Well, yeah, what a letdown.
because then even my favorite Foo Fighters songs aren't on this album, so hence why I just gave it a 5 because I was like, it's kind of a few good songs, but then there's shit on it as well. So, and there's a reason why when they see they're good to see now because they just play their hits, and all their hits are good. But I don't think if that album came out now, I would just be like, meh.
Maybe it's just about going for that long, maybe. Like, once you're a band that tours for that long.
Like Everlong.
They were
Like,
incredible
for-
live, though, wasn't they? Like,
That was
yeah.
really good, yeah. It made
Yeah,
me
I'm sure they-
realise how little I knew the words to their songs. I'm like, oh yeah, I know this one. Just, I know the beat.
Monkey Red.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I don't think I actually knew the full words to any of them. Just the chorus, or maybe, like you say, just the one ending
I
line
love
to a
that
song.
Deborah goes to a Foo Fighters concert like, my hero.
That, to be fair, that is exactly what I was like seeing them, to be fair.
I fucking love it. I got stared daggers when I went to go see. I didn't even realize that Muck Busted were a thing until I got dragged to see them. I must have been sat next to these 2 girls that were like super fans. Like they knew like every
Busted
word.
aren't even a real band, though.
No, but they had music out that was like Muck Busted and stuff.
Oh,
like
really?
that.
I thought they just did
Yeah.
covers of McFly
No,
and
I-
Busted songs.
I thought that as well, but it turns out not at all.
Oh.
And when I went there, I started singing along to a song that I didn't know and didn't know any of the lyrics to. Picked up the chorus by the 3rd chorus that came around. But as I went to sit back down ready for the weird intermission-y thing, I turned and saw this woman fucking staring daggers at me like I just kicked her child in the teeth. Like, she looked at me in disgust. She was like, I fucking hate you.
What, because you didn't know the lyrics?
Because I didn't even know they existed. I'd be lying if I said I knew who Muck Busted were. I know now, I've done the maths. McFly and Busted combined to make them. But at the time, I just thought it was McDonald's new brand of burgers.
seriously, you didn't know who they were?
Nope, not a clue.
Oh my god.
Crazy town. But yeah, Foo
Crazy
Fighters scored 24. Next album. Now, Aiden actually stuck with the Leeds Fest theme,
Yeah.
even though he wasn't going.
Yeah, it's not my jam, but I was like, you know what? I'll help you guys out. I'll give you one because I know that they're going. I know that I like them somewhat, and I picked the album with my favorite song of all time on it.
A Day to Remember, Homesick.
And can we just stress that the song, If It Means a Lot to You, bellissimo.
Oh,
Very nice. Love it. Love it to pieces. Wouldn't change it for the world. It's by far my favourite song.
The album scored 23.5, so it didn't do too well.
No, was it better? Hang on, was it better than Foo Fighters?
No.
Fuck you, Dave Grohl.
If It Means a Lot to You was great, and there was a couple of ones I liked, but then it was just too. It's not. Well, it does have screamo in it, right?
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah, and which isn't my thing, really.
No, not mine either.
Um,
If It Means a Lot to You doesn't have any in though.
No.
In fairness.
That's why it's their two favourite songs are the ones with not any screamo in.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I don't know. I don't really know what to say about this. Did you have a good time watching them?
To be fair, I did.
They were really good.
Considering I don't like screamo really, but I didn't. I would say after having listened to so many screamo, I don't initially instantly hate as much as I used to. Like Joe's plan to subtly wean us onto metal is partially working because before, the second I heard screamo, it was like my brain just an allergic reaction, just like nope, instant rejection. Whereas I now somewhat think that it can be used in a song. I wouldn't say it maybe enhances the song. I would say it could be done better without. But, yeah, like, I think I would probably rate that album high listening to it again, or maybe I'm just forgetting how many screamo songs there were.
I think the issue I had with it is how badly it was produced, and I think that was my main issue with it. Other than that, I liked it. I just didn't. Like
as a producer yourself,
coming across as a snob 101.
No, you just couldn't hear his vocals. They weren't mixed.
Right.
That's it.
You could not hear his voice. Did you even listen to the album?
Yes.
Hang on a minute. Whoa, you just said Motionless and Wine didn't have any screamo in it.
All right, I listened to it.
Step out of that door.
It had screamo in it, but barely any at all.
Pass the line. Get out of that door.
Like the one line in every song. That was about
and then there was that one time I sent Will a song that I'd made, and I was like, "Hey, Will,
we're going to bring this up again."
And then he was like, "Oh man, that's great," and I was like, "Oh, what did you think to that?"
You need to tell the full story again because we'll cut you off. Here we go.
So I sent Will.
Let's not talk about.
Why? Let's talk about it.
We've spoke about it before.
No, I don't know if we have.
I think we have.
No, definitely
I'd
not.
rather just move on to the next album.
So sent Will a song. So I sent Will. I'll see.
We'll just drop the N word.
The tables have turned.
Thank you. Let's move on.
We also all agreed that If It Means a Lot to You was the best song. So another one, was that like the third time we all agreed?
Yeah.
On the best song. And then I followed it up with another Leeds Fest band, who we didn't even see in the end, who was CHVRCHES and Love Is Dead.
Can you say it properly, please?
CHVRCHES.
CHVRCHES.
Which
this is German church.
Also scored 23.5, the same as A Day to Remember. Because I remember finding this really disappointing. I thought, because obviously another thing we haven't really explained is there was this thing of I really just liked female artists. If I had a female singer in it, I tend to rate it higher. So I thought, this is a female-led band. CHVRCHES, I've heard a few of their songs before. I'm bound to like this. And I rated it the lowest out of all of us. I only gave it a 4.
Didn't
0.5.
Didn't CHVRCHES do a song for what was it, Dad Spandex?
Death Stranding, yes.
Yeah, that.
See, what I remember from this, I remember listening it all the way back from Mallorca. I was listening because I was in Mallorca when we were doing this album.
Flex.
Yeah, and I was listening to it all the way back. I was listening to it with my mum. I have some great memories with my mum because we listened to this album and we both really enjoyed it. And we thought there's no way this is going to get a bad rating. This is good, and it got quite average across the board, except for me.
I give it a 7.
Yeah,
sorry. Yeah, I was going to say sorry about that.
It's quite average across the board. Only me and Will gave it like a 5 and 4.5. You two loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was quite good. I don't remember why I thought it was quite good.
I remember Graffiti. What is that? The song that's in Death Stranding as well?
No, they did a special song for Death Stranding.
Oh.
Do you reckon I must have picked God's Plan is my least favorite, just purely based off the Drake song, and I was like, man, both of these are terrible.
God's Plan.
God's Plan.
Okay, having gone through these, like, have you noticed how many times, like, 3 of us have agreed on, like, the least favorite, and then 1 of us disagrees?
Why, did you disagree on this one, or was it me?
It was me, but...
You did. You didn't like God's Plan.
I can't remember many of the songs on that. I just remember being a bit disappointed,
neither.
because even my favourite song, Graffiti, I don't like that much, or Get Out.
I do regret not doing what you and Will did, where like you guys have got your top 3 playlists and stuff like that of all the albums that we've ever done. Yeah. Great idea, but like sadly, it's too late. I can't go back.
It would take so long to catch up on now. Oh no, you could. Oh no, you couldn't. I was going to say I could just share you my playlist, but that'll obviously be my top 3.
Maybe. Also, I don't actually have a Spotify now. That my computer died slightly. Rip.
Oh, you don't. Hang on. You could just use Will's playlist because you just use his Spotify.
Yeah. Again, I need to get all the details back for that. Will.
I'll come and sort it for you.
Refuse, Will.
I mean, I could pay for my own. There's no reason why I shouldn't. Wait, Denver? Do you pay for your own?
Yes.
Good boy.
I do have something to say about CHVRCHES.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember not particularly liking this album when we first listened to it.
Mm-hmm.
But actually now, when it comes up in my playlist, I actually quite like them a lot. I'm not wording this right. I've much prefer them than I used to. I don't know. When it comes up now, I quite like the songs a lot more than I remember doing when I was listening to it before. But then I think, obviously, in the playlist, I only put the songs that I like on the playlist. So maybe I'm remembering just like the songs that I picked have gone up in my estimation, but maybe the album was still very average.
What do you reckon your favourite part about CHVRCHES are? Like mine's the stained glass windows, but I know that people quite like the crosses at the front.
The spire.
And stuff like that. Yeah. I quite like that they're nearly always surrounded by dead people.
That's just to guard them, isn't it? For when
yes, to guard the churches.
For when when all the dead rise. Is that what the Jehovah's Witnesses say?
Pretty sure no.
I'm pretty sure it is, isn't it? Jehovah's Witnesses.
They go around preaching that the Walking Dead's going to happen any day now.
Literally, like that's not even a joke. I'm pretty sure that is what they do. I've had many letters from people.
What, from Jehovah's Witnesses?
Yeah, like literally, I remember them knocking on my door where I lived at my old house and handing me a leaflet about like the rising dead and how everybody's coming back.
Well, they probably gave it to you out of warning because you used to live right next to one.
Oh yeah, I was one with the dead.
You reckon?
Yeah, they loved me.
Ask not for who the bell tones; it tones for thee.
Next up, Lower Than Atlantis, which scored 29.5. So close to a 30.
I saw Raiden getting all those 30s, and I was like, I want to taste good shit. And it didn't happen.
Can't happen. You're not as good at picking them as I am.
See, I thought this would be one of those bands where I've listened to quite a lot of the songs, or a few songs at the time, and no one else is going to know them. Aiden thought he knew them, but thought it was a different band. And it was good. It was a pleasant surprise, wasn't it, for most of us? Let's have a look. We got
it definitely was. Yeah.
8s from me and Will, 6.5 from Denver. Disappointing.
It's not even that bad. It's only 1.5 less than yours.
True. And what did you give it, Aiden?
7.
7, yeah. So close. If Denver would only just give it a 7. Ugh.
It's funny because again, with the whole top 3 playlist issue, I can't remember what else is on the album, but those top 3, every time they come up, I always listen to them. I fucking love the top 3 songs I picked, which was English Kid in America, Here We Go, and Criminal. Like, anytime they come up, I like them. So when I actually think about Lower Than Atlantis, I think I really like them. But maybe the rest of the album was shit, and that's why I only gave it 6.5. I don't know. I feel like if I was to hear it again, it would, like, just going off those 3 songs, I'd have given it like 7.5, 8. So, Maybe it grew on me more, or maybe just those songs were so much better than the rest. I can't really remember.
I feel like it's quite easy for us to say that we'd rate it higher when you guys have your top 3 playlists, because you're only ever listening to the ones that you thought were the best from that album anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is true. But when I look at like your guys' picks, like we all, other than English Kids in, oh no, we didn't all have that. We all had quite varied picks. So like, it's not like some cases where like, oh, they were clearly the best songs on this album.
Oh no, but that's usually a good sign of a good album.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's like, if anything, I feel like maybe if I was to listen to that album again, I would like it better.
Well, maybe you would. I'm just, just an observation. That's all.
Yeah.
I really like them.
So, whoa.
I'm a big fan. Got a lot of their songs on my playlist. I'm a big fan.
You're a big fan.
Are they still?
Name 12 of their songs.
Are they still a band?
Not big fan, are you?
Yeah, they are.
I heard a rumor that they'd split up or something.
Yeah, I've been trying to spread that. Did you know the City of London and London the City are 2 different places?
Isn't one in America?
No, one's in London.
No, isn't one in America?
No.
What about the English Kids there?
Whoa!
Name one song in American City.
And the next album was Katy Perry Teenage Dream. And what did that score? That scored 25.5. Oh,
Pretty surprisingly high score come out of that. I think anyway.
Especially
considering how average it was.
Yeah, you and Aiden rated it 5 and 5.5. Whereas me and Will gave it a bit higher. Will gave it an 8, and I gave it a 7.
Jesus, really?
Can you remember why you gave it an 8?
Oh my god.
Well, I think reason being, to be honest, is because
just forget that. The answer is no. You don't remember. No, you're just trying to make
maybe
shit
now
up
it'd be more like a 7. So, but making stuff up on the spot, I would probably say the reason is because there is a load of really good individual songs. Because so many of the songs on this album were actual singles. Like, this was probably Katy Perry at her peak, but like,
isn't she
rest of the songs that weren't? Yeah, she is now Pregante.
Do you remember?
10 years old. This album.
10 years, Jesus. I mean, I'm just getting PTSD from Peacock.
Yeah, we did all agree that Peacock was the worst song.
God, that was a horrible song.
Horrific.
Yeah.
But I'd probably say it definitely wasn't an 8. It's probably more like a 7. But I think the reason being is it's just the fact that there is loads of really good songs on it that were like good enough to be singles, and for me that's like a pretty good say that it was obviously a good album for the fact that you can get so many singles out of like an album like that. It's crazy. Usually only have like 2 or 3, whereas literally had like 6 songs that made it like really good. So, but then I've heard the songs that many times now. It's one of them things, but it's actually a weird pick for me because it's a bit out of nowhere, really.
Yeah, you don't normally pick women.
No, and I'm like, that was still probably to this day my weirdest pick I've had, but it just came to me, so I thought, fuck it.
Yeah, I'm still surprised I gave it a 7. Like, not because I think, I can only remember bad things, but maybe like because I only listened to Hummingbird Heartbeat. I still do like, that's quite a bop. Even Starstruck and ET, when they come up, they're like, I remember them, but I still probably always skip them just like, I've heard it so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything to say on that, Aiden? Do you remember anything about them? The album?
Literally don't remember it.
Yeah, I think a pretty slap bang in the middle route score.
I think what's bad about this album for me is the only song that I remember, or the biggest thing that I took away from this album was Peacock.
It's so cringe.
And that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign.
No.
But that's what I remember mostly about it.
Okay, so next up, All Time Low, So Wrong It's Right.
Nice.
And this scored 26, so 0.5 above Katy Perry. And I cannot remember how any of these songs went.
You don't remember 6 Feet Under the Stars?
Now you say it, but I think this was another one of these albums for me where I just couldn't. I didn't hate any of them, but I didn't like any of them either. So it was a bit of just a
Pop punk again, isn't it?
A lottery of.
You need at least this much teenage angst to ride the roller coaster, and you, sir, don't have enough.
You see, I started getting into All Time Low when their newer stuff started coming out, and I'd argue that their newer stuff is not as good as this album.
I'd argue against that.
Yeah, I probably would as well.
I prefer the new stuff now, surprisingly.
Because the I think maybe I listened to the new stuff too much when it first came out, because it kind of just feels like I'm sick of it. I don't hate it, but I'm like, don't want to listen to it anymore type of thing. But when I listened to this album, like, it kind of put me back in the mood when I first started listening to them. Does that make sense?
I mean, you always say this, Joe. You always mention that you listen to songs too much to the point of you don't like them anymore.
Yeah.
But I feel if a song is good enough to hold your attention for the first time, it should be good enough to hold your attention for the 2000th time that you've listened to it.
I guess so.
But, like, it seems to me that what you do is you're like a small child, and it's Christmas, and you've got this new fire truck. You love fire trucks, don't you?
I do love them.
He loves Firefox.
Firefox.
And like you sit there and you play with it for hours and hours and hours and hours, and then you chuck it on the floor and you're like, fuck yeah, I love Action Men now.
Yeah, I feel like, as degrading as a representation as that was, I agree. Like, yeah, 100%. It was like the dad telling that story about when I was a kid. He tried to make me do work, in which case I tried to clean a caravan for a £5 note.
Even now, the word work must as disgust in your mouth.
I got halfway through it, and I was like, nah, I'm bored. Went in, didn't pack any of the equipment away or anything like that. It was like, nah, this work life ain't for me, fam. And that was it. Never worked a day in my life since. That's not true. I have a job.
So he claims.
Have we ever actually seen him do his job?
I mean,
he did sell us a phone.
Hang on, out of all of us, he's actually the only one we've ever seen do their actual job.
You've seen me driving about in the van.
I haven't. You saw me. I never saw you.
Yeah,
these are shady words. Shady words.
What the fuck are you saying?
Shady words.
Shady words.
Shut up.
But yeah, so that got. I mean, I gave it a 5, but all of you gave it 7s.
Yeah, it was good.
So it's just pretty good from your perspective. We got the classic 26.
It is good. That's the thing. You don't. I'm telling you. Look at the teenage angst. Look at it on the floor. Pick it up. It's yours. Grab it.
But obviously, like, out of what I assumed was random picks, I did pick Remembering Sunday as my favourite, which 2 of you also put as his favourite, and Aiden's second favourite.
So, Remembering Sunday must be doing something right.
Very, very surprising.
Has a female in it.
Is it?
Yes.
That'll be why I picked his number 1 then.
It does have a female in it. No!
That explains that, holy shit.
It's surprising. It was the one time Captain Acoustic didn't pick the acoustic song. But the rest of us did.
I'll let you in on a little secret, Joe.
Yeah.
The reason 6 Feet Under the Stars is my favourite is because there's an acoustic version of it, which is much better.
Right.
And that's the reason I like the song so much.
But that isn't the acoustic version.
You see that?
Yes, you're right, but the acoustic version was released on its own as a separate thing.
But you see, I had the opposite effect. You see, when we did Shawn Mendes, I didn't put Lost in Japan as my favourite because the remix, the Z remix of it was so much better. So I was like, it kind of put me off the normal version.
But was the Z remix in an album? Or was it just a separate thing?
It was just a separate thing.
Then it just shows that like our minds are in very different places, but also simultaneous. We run parallel to each other, like train tracks.
But slight alterations.
Or like a hot dog bun split down the middle.
Aiden, I'm confused about your statement.
Go on.
So, is the reason 6 Feet Under the Stars solely better is because there's a different version of it?
Yes.
Yeah, but that's not the version of it that's better.
This is what we were sort of saying. So for me, when in that situation, it makes me dislike that song more because I know there's a better version. But for Aiden, it reminds him of the better version, so hence making that song better.
But there's a difference between reminding him and it physically being that song.
Yes, but you could argue that with any song that reminds you of anything. Like
we are primitive creatures.
Like
and comparison is our easiest way of doing something.
Aiden's saying when he listens to that song, it reminds him of the better version, hence he likes the song. It's like saying, oh, this song reminds me of this really good time we had on a night out, or this song reminds me of this. Like, not allowing that to be part of the song rating is kind of impossible.
Yeah, I get that. Okay. Yeah, I understand.
This is a terrible song, but I absolutely love it because of that one time I heard it in Morocco, and it was great. No. But I can't count that, so it's a bad song, and it's the worst song on the list. Like,
I remember this song back in Nam.
Back in Nam. Bow bow. Bow bow. Bow bow. Bow bow.
They're in the fucking trees.
Next up, Avril Lavigne, Let's Go. Let's go.
Let me tell you right now, let's stop.
That scored 23.
Yeah, it was terrible. Like, Complicated was the only good song on that.
So I think this was the start of when I started picking albums that I knew one song from.
And it showed.
Oh no, actually no, this wasn't when I started. I did it with Evanescence.
Oh shit.
Evanescence.
Evanescence.
As well, and none of them proved to actually ever show up. So like, I'd heard Complicated and I'm With You before, and they were still my two favourite songs. The only song that I sort of discovered from this was listening to Losing Grip, which was my third favourite. But other than that, it was just like disappointing. It was like Avril Lavigne's OG album. I was like, oh, but there's some good song on here. But no, other than like the top three, I thought the rest were pretty average. So I only gave it a 6.5.
It's kind of soul crushing when we do go through these stages of having just moderate albums. Because, like, they're not bad enough where you want to complain about them, but they're not good enough that you have anything good to say.
And that's pretty much how it's been since we started recording album review. Like, other than, like, two albums, they've just been, meh, okay.
All of the fans have been missing out.
They have. Hence why we're doing this now.
Shout out to my dad.
Oh, top fan.
No, he hates what we do, but that's okay.
He loves it, though.
Wow. He really enjoyed the part where Will called his mother a slag. That was his favourite bit. No, he hasn't watched any of them. What the fuck are you saying?
You sound believable.
I could imagine him watching them.
Well, that's why I'm good at the lying game.
Yeah, I'm so bad at lying.
Me? I'm the best at lying.
I'm so bad at lying that even when I'm telling the truth, you think I'm lying.
Like, I've convinced you guys that I'm fat for years. I'm so skinny. You wouldn't even believe.
Just don't believe it. Anything else? Anyone else got anything to say about Avril Lavigne's album?
Not really. I was very indifferent about it. So
you gave it the second highest score, though, Joe.
I know I did. That's why I was very indifferent. I was really confused on what to give this album, simply because I didn't listen to it. No, that was a joke. I did listen to it. I don't know. So I went up and down with the album, and then it kind of just like I scored what I felt like I gave it like on my last listen, if that makes sense. So yeah, I was very up and down with it. It probably deserves less than what I gave it.
Look, there you go. We gave it a grip, but now it's time to let go.
No, here we go again.
Next album, Ben Howard, Every Kingdom.
Wait, hang on. Will didn't say anything about that album. Right, he literally said nothing about it.
Well, to be honest, my connection was a bit up and down, so I thought it best I didn't. But now that it's all right, I will say that it was just disappointing. Much like the next album.
Oh, I mean, it's true.
So yeah, next album, Ben Howard, Every Kingdom, scored 20.5. So he scored less than Avril Lavigne.
Yeah. So we continue down the road of Joe's brainwaves. Right. And Joe was thinking, he's picked a good 2 or 3 metal albums in a row here. And he's thinking, getting a bit too much. The guys are getting a bit tense. Every time it comes to my pick, you can tell Denver wants to throw up.
Yeah, but your last pick wasn't metal.
What was my last pick?
Lower than Atlantis.
See, but I classed that as like quite a heavy thing. But I was living off the hype, and I was thinking, right, we'll go something a little bit more mellow. bit more nice. We'll go for Ben Howard. And we continue down the road of bad choices. Very disappointing. I give it like a 5.5. It wasn't exactly bad. He didn't have a bad voice. It was just very underwhelming and boring, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think they all sounded the same pretty much as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
And
he has the same voice. He doesn't really do anything different in each song. It's just guitar. He does a couple of oohs with his voice, and that's it.
I was surprised Aiden gave it the lowest of 4.5, and even the highest was only a 5.5 in this time.
Yeah, but that's because I got spoiled by Sean James.
Well, I think the thing is as well is you are Captain Acoustic, and the thing is if there's a bad acoustic song, that makes it even worse.
Nothing bad about the acoustics in the song. He's an extremely talented guitar player. He's just
he's
not a very good singer.
He's absolutely insane how he can sing and play like the guitar at the same time.
Well, I mean, I can do that. Come on, just saying.
Anyone can do that.
Sorry, anyone can do it. Impressive.
Because like the absolute skill that it takes to play the guitar work that he does.
Yeah, his are ridiculous.
His songs are really hard to play. Sorry,
some of his songs he has to change, literally like retune his guitar midway through the song.
You say that, but like that's through his own like choice.
Well, yeah.
Like if anything, if he was a more talented guitarist, he'd find a way of doing it without detuning his guitar.
But then you can argue,
Benjamin, I'm calling you out.
If he was even more talented, he would just pre-record it and then just hit play. It's not difficult.
Just hit play, Ben.
Just hit play, Ben.
Just hit play.
For me, his voice I think the whole backing and everything's really cool, and it's like guitar like ability is really ace. But like I just can't. Much like Aiden, his voice is just. I think you very much have to. It's a love or hate thing, isn't it? Like if you love that kind of thing, it's spot on. But his voice is just a bit too airy and boring in my eyes.
That's the thing. He's like a struck down Jedi. He's weak.
Ha 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 ha! What were these terrible jokes all the time?
What's wrong with my jokes? I'm trying a new format.
Oh, let's move on.
What do you mean? What? Come on, guys.
Twin Atlantic.
Denver.
Great Divide.
You like my jokes, right?
I love them. That's why I dub in extra laughs.
Do we need the laugh track back again?
I won't be able to get it back.
We can do that for him. 1, 2, 3. Ha 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 ha! Oh, no one else did it. That's embarrassing.
Oh well, last time we did something like that and I joined in, I got told off.
Why?
It was like the clap trap. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I dubbed it back in. It was great.
Ah, great. That's awesome.
I mean, no, this is taken in one take. How would I know I've done that?
One take.
One take. No cuts here.
Not one.
Whoops.
I didn't say anything.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, Twin Atlantic Great Divide scored 26.5. It's a classic.
So many at that score.
Must have been all right.
It is weird how
I carried it quite a bit though.
Why? What did you give it?
I gave it an 8.5.
Yeah, I didn't deserve that.
I gave it a 7, which I think is a bit high, really, considering I don't listen back to any of those. I think I get confused with Twin Atlantic and Lower Than Atlantis for some reason. Because I think I would actually rate Lower Than Atlantis higher than Twin Atlantic now.
Would you?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe because I feel like some of these artists, right, are really good. The album's really good to listen to as an album, but then when you combine their music with other people you listen to, it's kind of like you're like, oh, I'll skip that. If you know what I mean? Like
I have that issue with all of basically non-metal albums because most of my like personal playlist is like metal, so that when I try and mix like little songs in from album review, they just don't fit at all. It's really weird.
And even though Twin Atlantic isn't like that different, I don't know. I think maybe I guess I did enjoy the album, giving it a 7. But yeah, I pretty much never listened to that. And like, I Am an Animal. I can't even remember that song right now.
I think my issue with Twin Atlantic and a lot of these like Biffy Clyro and stuff like that is just I don't mean it to any offense to any Scottish people, but I just can't stand the Scottish singing voice.
Oh, that's who they were. They were the really Scottish sounding ones, weren't they?
Yeah, I just can't deal with it. It sounds really fake and horrible, and I don't like it.
For me, it adds to it. Like I think it adds character. I don't know. It's weird because like Lewis Capaldi is very Scottish, and there's like nothing in that in his songs. Is there?
Because he puts in a voice for
But,
singing,
like,
doesn't
Biffy,
he?
But like Biffy and Twin Atlantic is it's so prominent. Like, but I personally really like that, which hence why Biffy are like in my top 3. But I don't know. These are very much budget Biffy, though. To be fair, but I remember liking the album quite a lot. The reason I picked it,
Biffy were expensive anyway. Same budget Biffy.
Biffy are very expensive.
They're fucking not. Biffy are like cheese on toast.
They've just announced their tour for late this year, so
what's it called? Fucking baked beans.
I can't remember what it's called.
Biffy on beans.
Biffy.
How is Mr.
Actually.
Biffy anyway?
Mr. Biffy, it's good. I hear Clyro is doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be.
Actually, the more I think about it, maybe this album was a 7. Actually, I can remember the songs now. I did actually quite like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a couple.
We saw him, Denver.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, I remember that actually.
At Leeds
Yeah, they were
Fest.
alright. Then we saw
Moving
Charlie
on.
XCX with a
Oh no, yeah, we did.
a big power attitude.
It was a bit tragic though, wasn't it?
Well, you can't say that.
I think it
She's
was
an empowered
ballsy.
woman. Will.
I've seen her before.
Yeah, but that don't give you an excuse, does it?
Do you not remember, Aiden? You should.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you
I
don't,
remember that
but-
she came on stage. She strolled up on stage and she went, "My name's Charlie XCX. You might have heard of me." And literally, a guy in the audience went, "No." And then, so she did about oh god, it must have been. Bearing in mind, there was a band on before her called Elijah and the Bears. Cool guys. They were like super humble. Every song they did, they were like, "Yeah, we're really glad to be playing with Paramore," because that's like they were supporting her. Oh, really great. Love you all. It's so nice. Anyway, Charlie XCX strolls out on stage, expecting everyone, to fucking kiss her feet as she walked, kind of thing. And she decided that she wanted to do a set list that was almost twice as long as Elijah and the Bears, who were actually quite good.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, it got to about the 12th song, and she went, "I'm gonna do one more song," and it was horrible. But the audience, you could hear like, "Oh fucking hell!"
Literally the entire audience.
Literally everyone. Oh god.
She must have felt terrible.
She must have felt horrible. But in fairness, we felt horrible at that point. So.
Do you know? I've just remembered. I've also seen Charlie XCX before Leeds.
Yeah, did she do a similar thing or?
No, she was actually really. I thought she was really good the first time
Well, I think
saw her.
this was before she was like actually famous, really, wasn't it, Will?
Yeah,
It's kind of like she'd done the song about crashing cars into bridges, and then like
that was a big
it.
thing.
But she wasn't even like tagged in the thing, was she? She wasn't even a supporting artist for that.
No,
Like she did it, but her name wasn't on the record. I don't think it wasn't like featuring Charlie XCX.
Yeah, because I saw it. She supported Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
and she was actually pretty good there. To be fair, I don't mind Charlie XCX. I think it is her like. I feel like it is her artist persona to be on this like this big energy person, which
she's
can
quite
come off.
intense.
Yeah, which can come off really awkward in front of people who aren't your fans because it just comes across as like, oh, they're a bit of an asshole or something. You know what I mean? Like they think they're bigger than they are. But I bet people who are fans of her probably fucking love it.
Yeah, all 3 of them.
Well, no, she must be doing pretty well for herself.
All right, sorry, 5.
Yeah, that's better.
she's definitely got a massive like fan base now. To be fair, like she's always in the
Do they have a
charts.
name? Are they like the XCXs?
Probably. It's not going to be the Charlies, is it? I
The
mean,
Charlie.
That's exactly, yeah. Charlie. Anyway, we spent more about talking about Charlie XCX than Twin Atlantic on that one, but we'll move on. We haven't even done a Charlie XCX album. Spoilers.
There wasn't anything to talk about the Twin Atlantic album. It was all right. His accent was super thick.
So then we moved on to. It had been so long since. In fact, it was 10 picks ago that we last did a theme. So we decided at this point we decided to start making themes a thing where people could nominate a theme. of people to go by. And so for the next 4 picks, the theme was artists we haven't heard before. So the idea being this: the person who picked it could have heard them, but then no one else you couldn't pick it if everyone else had heard it before, or even heard of the artist before. So Aiden started us off with Ian Dorr. Nothing's ever good enough.
I mean, yeah. I knew about him from a couple of like TikTok memes. His song was in the background of, and I was just like, I don't know who this is. I'm going to type him in, and then he's basically like, although Post Malone is young, he's kind of like child Post Malone, in the sense that he's got very similar kind of music. And I feel like just out of pure spite and nothing else, I rated it higher just for that, to see Will squirm.
He scored 22
So
and Will
wrong.
gave it like the lowest.
Yeah, Will gave it the lowest because he was like Post Malone, and Will's like...
Because he's budget Post Malone.
Oh, all right. He's like cheese on toast Biffy Clyro, is he?
No.
Still surprisingly good though.
Yeah, he was actually all right.
Yeah, to be fair, saying that since this, like, I listened to his songs quite a bit. So.
Well, it's a bit like TikTok itself. His album was short, and all his songs are short and easy to listen to.
Yeah.
I mean, none of them are anything special, hence why I got 3 6s and a 4.
Yeah.
But I remember I controversially picked the song which all you guys thought was the worst by a mile.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Molly.
Yeah.
Was that because... Who was that guy?
Molly is just MDMA.
Right.
Like that's what
it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but no one cares about that. Who was the guy that was on the song?
Oh, yeah.
Because he made it so much worse.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
It was like this album, Quavo.
Oh, I can't remember. But you see, I really liked it because I didn't hate his voice. I found it funny. And then I thought it really enhanced Ian Dorr's bits because it was like so much better. So hence I think why that song stood out to me.
I mean, yeah, it sucked. That song was terrible.
His name is Bernard Jabs.
Right, okay. Bernard
There
Jabs.
you go. There you go.
Calling you out as well, you and Ben Howard.
Disappointments.
You need to stop.
Next up.
Fucking hell, that was a bit brutal.
What?
That one. What?
Stop making music, you're shit.
I don't think you said
That's
about
not
me,
true. No, I meant stop breathing.
What? Ian Dorr? Or the guy who was with?
The guy.
I think the guy who was with, didn't we look it up and he's actually like bigger than Ian Dorr?
Yeah.
Like it's
As in, like, height-wise, the indoor's quite small.
He doesn't deserve to be.
No, I think he's like in general. He's just
Also,
tall.
Quavo can be thrown in there as well, because I don't like Quavo either.
Next up. Oh, fuck, my phone's going off.
Fuck you, Quavo.
Um,
How unprofessional.
I
Put
know.
it to airplane mode.
There we go. Next up, Lucy Hale, Road Between, Deluxe Edition. This scored 25.5.
What a meme.
Wow.
This album's fucking great.
I mean, it is. This is a great.
Oh, it
album.
had good songs. I remember I listened to this first time when because I fancied Lucy Hale. Basically, I still do.
Okay. She's 13.
No, she's an actress from.
No, that's not what I said.
+4.
She's not 13. She's an actress. Okay.
Because actresses can't be 13. That's a rule. No, she's like I think she's like late 20s, early 30s. I think now.
Really?
I don't know. Let me have a look.
Just a bit of a cougar.
I don't know.
You're actually googling this now.
30. Bang on 30.
She is bang on 30. Man.
Anyway, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's why I
yeah,
picked
just-
her album. And I remember listening to it. I played it just like on repeat. And because I think I was doing something at the time, so it was just in the background. I'm like, I actually quite like some of these songs. And some of them are like funny just because of how Will should just hate them, because it's like what Will's criticism of Taylor Swift was like, the cringy songs, and there's so many more cringy songs on this.
They're all cringy.
They
I
are.
feel like
They're
it's
all-
like feel good.
Thing is, they're cringy, but that's what makes it. That's what makes this a great album.
Ugh.
I think secretly we're all huge fans of country music.
Yeah.
Except
All of
Will.
us, every single one of us.
So, I can't believe you and Joe actually gave it higher than I did.
Fucking loved it.
I
Loved this
did.
album.
It was great. Honestly, the top two songs especially. Just
You
You're
sound good to
picking
me,
this
Will.
whole album up way too
Fantastic.
much.
Should have been a 30.
I'm
It's
surprised it
amazing.
wasn't.
Oh, it's shocking.
Shocking.
Oh,
You gave it a
God.
5, so you didn't hate it as much as you think you did.
Yeah, but like, if any of these songs come on, there is no fucking way I'm listening to them. It's
Really?
just a meme. You can
That's-
honestly, Joe. Do you go from listening to metal to then listen to Red Dress
I
by
could.
Lucy Hale?
I fucking could.
Yeah, I didn't like
Legit.
Red Dress though, so.
That is the
Oh,
only
what?
memory I have of this album.
And that wasn't
is
even in
Red
your top
Dress.
3, Will.
I know, because it wasn't that good a song, was it? It was just a drunk guy that comes in.
Darling,
Oh my god!
It's a great song.
I fucking
I
love it.
mean, my meme was the best part about this album.
No, it wasn't. Fuck
Your,
you.
to be fair, your meme did increase the feel good.
You all
But
said
this-
that, to be
yeah.
fair, when we reviewed
Yeah,
it.
but
So
now I'm outright denying it.
yeah, even though you said that it was the reason it was second, so you know.
Well,
I
it
was
was
not included in
recorded.
there, so your meme wasn't that good.
Yeah, sorry, Will.
Fuck you, Denver.
Well, what?
It was a good meme, Will.
It was a good meme.
We're gonna
thank you.
cry? Maybe.
I might cry. I might cry because I know what album's coming next.
Yeah, so that scored 25.5. Next up, Periphery. Shit.
4.
4
Periphery 4.
Hail Stan.
Right, it's
What an
Periphery
album.
for Hailstan. Again, we're just going to go with the continuing on Joe's brainwaves here. We thought, okay, Ben
What if I
Howard.
just fucking ruin it?
I was like, okay, Ben Howard didn't do very well here, but maybe they've adjusted their ears now. And you know, it's like when when you're a kid and say you're like 4 years old, and you eat a onion, and then
Lego.
and you hate it and you spit it out, and then 12 years later you eat an onion again, and you're like, I like the onion now. I was thinking maybe that's what happened with metal music.
Joe just fucking in his kitchen eating raw onions.
And a bad decision again from me. You give it, we've got 1 from Aiden,
Hello.
1.5 from Denver. You got a 7 from me, which is a lower rating.
Yeah, it's basically shit if it's a 7.
And then it's a 1.5 from Will. And now the issue is that I had this sparked off a very big debate with this album because these guys are so talented. Like all the work was so technical. Immediately, fuck off. These guys are insane at guitar. The drummer is insane. The vocalist can change his range so quickly.
The drummer is insane, to be fair.
insane.
And I feel like just the long songs is what put you guys off, and I understand that, but it's like an experience.
Now, I'll tell you what put me off, Joe. I'll tell you what put me off.
Yeah,
The music.
Oh, that's right.
It scored 11, Joe. It's the lowest rated song, and for good reason. In fact, no, actually, I still think who was the other one who I rated lower was worse. But you just didn't boost this one up as much. Architects was worse, hence why I gave it a little bit better. But you gave Architects a 9, so it just edged that 0.5 better. I should have gave Architects a 0.
Well, there's a reason you guys never heard of this band. But again, these guys are great, and I feel like you guys just don't appreciate their passion.
Also, we signed up for album review to discover new music. This was music.
I will say,
Yeah, go on, Bill.
just in Joe's defense, it's Only Smiles.
Great song.
I actually really like that song now. It's a
I think-
fucking great song.
That might have been the reason why it was a 1 and not a 0.5 for me.
Can I just say,
No, to be honest, you've done enough talking.
Can that can you guys like see from like maybe like a metalcore's like fan perspective why that would sound good in their ears?
Absolutely not.
Okay, that's a no from Aiden. Will?
No comment.
I see.
No.
So no, Denver?
It's like drinking whiskey, isn't it? It's like if you don't like it, no matter how many whiskeys you give someone, it's still whiskey. And you're not gonna like it. You're saying you liked it's only smiles. I'm just gonna cut that out so it sounds even worse. You know how I like to cut things to make it sound like Joe's moron.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do that.
Okay.
I'm not gonna do that.
Oh, all right. So another thing that Joe actually brought up there was that like this is their passion. But what Joe's also forgetting is there are people out there that have a passion for eating other humans' feces. And I'm not saying this is the same, but it's definitely on a similar level.
This is very mean, and I'm going to stop now because.
Why is it mean? You didn't write the music.
These guys are insane.
It doesn't matter if they're insane. If they're insane, lock them up.
You only gave them a thing. You scored. They're only as insane as Lucy Hale is, though.
Yeah, great. They were great. The thing is with the album is that not all the songs were bangers, and that's why it got downrated for me.
Will, can you stop?
I was gonna say I love having Darth Vader in this chat. It's great.
I know.
Sorry.
Why were you so intensely breathing?
Are you vaping?
You got something
No,
to
I was
say?
concentrating.
It does sound like you're vaping.
I didn't realise I was
but every
heavily.
breath is a vape. It's just like
I live for the smoke.
I literally had no idea I was doing that as well.
Just having a quick toke.
They don't call me Cloud for nothing.
literally. Oh god.
I've
Sorry.
not actually realised the connotations behind my name until recently. I call myself Puffy Clouds, don't I? But obviously, there's probably a lot of dank weed connotations behind Puffy Clouds. But we're not going to get into it.
That's why you're so popular on video games. So everyone loves you.
No, everyone loves me because they think I'm a woman.
What?
Until I talk on the chat. Because obviously, Puffy Clouds, I've got a picture of a red panda. They're like, oh, must be a girl. And they put, hey, cutie. And I go on the mic and I'm like, Bush did 9/11. And they're like, okay, right. No, this guy's not okay.
This guy's a terrorist.
No, I'm just a truth speaker. Put your tinfoil hat on.
Next up, Harry Hudson. Yesterday is Tomorrow Night.
What an album.
Which scored 32. I think this was your first 30. Well, I guess, was it only 30?
I had Lewis Capaldi.
Oh, yeah, you had Lewis Capaldi. Yes, the second 30.
Again,
This was
Denver.
out of nowhere, though.
Oh, not a true 30, though.
Because of you, again. So many times you've done this to me now.
No, this was the beginning of it. I think it was several times after this I screwed you over. Because I screwed you over with the, I think another time.
This album it's been the biggest shock for me through album review, I think. Just because I didn't expect it to like it as much as I do, and I think it's incredible. Like, it's so good. I listen to it like so much, even now, and it was just because what was this week again?
This was people we haven't heard of before.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just incredible. So I love it. I don't know what anyone else has to say. I literally gave it a 9. So
the issue I've got is I give it an 8, and I remember it being amazing, but I can't remember how any of the songs go. Like, it's making me want to go back to it because I clearly enjoyed it.
I can remember my top 3, but that's just because of my playlist.
I think I can remember Criminal, but yeah, I need to go back to it and listen because I clearly enjoyed it, but it's one of those ones that I guess just doesn't stick with you, for me anyway.
It'd be one of them things. It's like riding a bike or kicking a child. You'll never forget how to do it properly.
Yeah, I agree.
Please, your third favourite Criminal was mine, Aiden's least favourite.
What was Criminal?
It must have been shit. I can only think of Criminal by is it Lower Than Atlantis?
Michael Jackson.
MJ.
MJ.
Smooth Criminal. We can't talk about him. Too controversial.
Too controversial. So yeah, guess no one else has got anything to say about that.
Fucking, I don't. I remember it being really good, but like Joe says, I've never actively past this point typed in Harry Hudson again.
No.
There's probably a few 30s that are like that, realistically.
Yeah.
Like if I went back, there's probably a few of them that I haven't listened to or gone back to again. Unlike the next album,
The Cab, Symphony Soldier, which scored 31. So we had two 30s in a row, which I think was the first and only time that
Will was
happened.
like, I got a 30. I'm like, fuck you, Will. You know who else wants a 30? Me.
So this again was now we're out the theme, but holy shit!
Fucking this album.
I've listened to this album back again. Like this, The Cab, and the other one you picked, We Are the In Crowd, are like probably like the two of the few that I actually go back to and listen to the full album.
See, we came into doing album review, Joe assuming he was going to mold our minds into metal, but I've actually molded your mind with all these weird sort of like pop punky things.
You have. The Cab are great.
It's weird though
The
how
Cab
like
are
some of
fucking
them
great.
you suggested I've just straight gone like didn't understand any of it, but then other ones
They
just like
glue.
click. And this was a funny one because other than me who gave it 8.5, the rest of you gave it 7.5 each. So even though it only just got into 30 by being 31, it is actually a true 30.
It is a true 30, yeah.
Yeah, suck it, Will.
Because everybody gave it 7.5
So
or
wrong.
higher. So
It's not so wrong, Will, because
No,
you
it's a
wouldn't
great
give this
album.
album less. I would give it more if I went back. Like, every song on this album is a well-crafted masterpiece.
And-
like the Mona Lisa, or Kicking a Child.
and everyone's like top three was like quite varied.
Our worst was half and half.
Yeah.
Two of us picked Her Love Is My Religion, and then two of us picked Another Me. So that was pretty straight across the board as well. So, yeah.
Oh, great. Even probably it must be one of the highest rated, I guess, 8.5, and it definitely sticks out as fucking love that
Yeah,
album. If anything, like say maybe I'd give it higher, maybe not though, because I think it did. There is a
I'd
few
give it
I would
higher.
skip, but
I'd kiss Mr. Cab.
like Mr. Cab.
I don't even know his name. I know for a fact that they're not a band anymore.
They don't. But I thought they like featured on a song recently.
Yeah, maybe.
No,
they did.
that wasn't them.
Maybe
I
I
think it
lied.
was State Champs, maybe.
Yeah.
I know they did like a weird EP thing. Maybe like was it back in 2016 or something?
Oh yeah, because I remember actually when we did this album, they had Haley Steinfeld in one of their music videos.
Oh, no way.
Steinfeld as well. Oh yeah, they're on hiatus since 2014.
That's sad. Maybe one day they'll come back. And when
Maybe.
they do, I'll be there in the crowd.
Yeah, this is the annoying thing about these two bands, We Are the In Crowd and these, who, like they're no longer bands.
No,
Like,
I'm sorry.
We Are the In Crowd have become Sante now, but their music's quite different. I like some of them.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Look at you and music knowledge.
I know.
What were you laughing at, Joe?
Don't worry, I'll say it in a minute.
I'll say it
Okay.
now.
No.
Why is it racist?
No.
Not racist enough.
Yes.
I knew
I
it.
don't like those jokes.
Next up, I picked The Wombats, A Guide to Love, Loss, and Desperation.
Fucking, where did you come from there? Jesus. You like flew into the mic.
Oh,
I
sorry.
would pick Wombats.
There you go.
It's because I was speaking off like this. I guess the mic didn't auto just.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now, I picked these
Yeah.
because I'd never even heard of the Wombats before. But when we were out in Leeds, I heard their various songs of theirs being played. And I was like, I kind of like this. And I picked this album because Moving to New York was the name. I remember Will telling me it was the name of one of the songs I kept saying I liked. So I picked this album. And was very disappointed by the album.
Oh, fuck me. It was so bad.
It's such a bad. I'm just gonna
I
go
don't
ahead
think it is.
and read a line of the lyrics from the song "School Uniforms."
Oh, man,
I
that
don't-
hasn't been- that
I
hasn't been
don't-
done before.
I don't even know the location of the bike sheds. That's the line. The
Brilliant.
lyrics are awful in every single like song. It was just so cringy. It was horrible. Never listen to it again.
See,
I wouldn't say that the lyrics are cringy.
Yes, they are.
They're not cringy.
No, they
Fucking
are.
hell. How can we just go through past Lucy Hale and say that this is the cringy out of the two? It's not cringy. I'm not saying they're good lyrics.
Sorry, no, hang
they're
on,
definitely not good lyrics.
They
are
were
not
written
cringy.
by a 5-year-old.
It works though.
No,
I'm
it
not saying it was
doesn't work.
amazing, but like I think it's mainly with the Wombats for me. It's like the actual riffs that they have. They're good for like a crowd. It always seems to work. It works to a crowd more than it does, I guess, just listening to it at home. To be honest, like if Let's Dance to Joy Division or Moving to New York comes on, like say like at a club or actually seeing them, it's a lot more elevated and if like all the crowd's going and stuff. But if you're at home,
I was going to say, but this is
it's not the same effect really. They're much more, I guess. Their songs are built for
this isn't concert
an audience.
We're not reviewing concerts.
Mm.
It's album review, and as it stands as
Yeah.
an album, the lyrics are cringy and bad. The songs are repetitive and boring, and the guy never sounded like he was actually trying to do anything other than piss out kidney stones. Fuck off the Wombats. You better get the Wombats out of here, because, oh lordy.
I think what this made me realise, though, was because I'd heard quite a few of their songs at Leeds, and I it wasn't like I liked one song, Moving to New York. There was quite a few I liked, so it made me think, like, oh, maybe they were spread across different albums, rather than just, I guess this was their first album, I think, back in 2007, maybe? Maybe they did one earlier than that. I don't know how old they are now. But it only scored 17, so it did pretty bad.
It deserved to do bad.
Almost as bad as Architects.
Yeah, but you carried Architects. No one carried this album.
Yeah, that's different.
It's true, I guess. But, you know, that one person liking that band does make the difference. You know, it doesn't mean it's invalid.
It does.
Talking of carrying albums...
And invalid.
Wage War Pressure was the next pick.
Nice.
Which scored 15 and was carried by Joe 7.
Yeah, again, I thought another metal album. This surely would be the one because it had a lot more singies in it than the screamies. And but it wasn't my favorite Wage War album, but I thought more singies, more 30s.
Wow.
And that's never going to happen on a metal album. We'll see. But again, so because it wasn't my favorite Wage War album, and I think it's definitely one of the weaker ones of what they've brought out. Give it a 7 rather than my usual 9.5s to carry the albums. And it detrimented it again. But, you know, you guys were so harsh on this one because they were actual songs.
I think, me looking at my score now of 3, I gave it 3, Will gave it 3, Aiden gave it 2. I love Me Against Myself and Hurt. But because I only listen to those 2 songs, like, on my playlist, I think I quite like them. Like, when I think of Wage War, I think, Wage War, alright, they have those 2 good songs. But because of how much I love those 2 songs, and to only give it a 3, I must have really hated the rest of the album. Like, I can't remember any of it. So, it must have been terrible.
To be fair, I only remember those 2 songs as well. I can't remember much of the rest of the album. I remember that he's got a good voice, but then...
Will We Ever Learn's a really good song.
I picked it, but I can't remember
it.
I mentally block all of the metal albums that Joe's picked.
That's fair. It's probably the safest way, to be fair, to prevent the spread of infection.
It keeps my sanity.
Yeah, but what about if it's suddenly a good one?
Well, I wouldn't know because I'm just brain dead at that point. All I hear is white noise. Joe goes, and my next album is Slitting My Wrists by Killing Babies. My head just goes like... You know what I mean?
What an album! Slit My Wrist by Killing Babies.
I don't even want to know what the cover of the album looks like.
It would be a baby slitting his wrist.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna have to draw this now, aren't I?
God.
No, you're definitely not.
That's,
You are
but that's-
definitely not.
but that's like
New
saying
on
that
shelves.
but that's like saying that all metal albums are proper like emo and like stuff like that, which just isn't the case. Like
No,
Wage
you're
War
right.
are not like an emo death band.
That's
They're
why
like,
it got
About
more than a
mass
2.
genocide.
Mhm.
They're literally called Wage War. It's not called Wage Cuddles, is it?
You know, it's just about stuff.
It's just about stuff. It sounds like it's about multiple world conflicts, Joe.
I mean, you couldn't get much worse. If there's a band called Gassing Time,
By Hitler.
Oh dear.
It's just like, what?
By Hitler.
Featuring Auschwitz.
featuring real, like audio recordings of Hitler.
The first song is just called "On the Train with the Boys," and then all the other songs are just variations of
No, what it will be, so you know how the 1975, their like first song on their albums is like an intro album, like an intro song. It's like not even really a song.
Yeah.
That's what theirs would be. It'd just be like Hitler compilation.
Hitler compilation.
You know, like him just shouting things at speeches.
Ah, those are my favourite videos.
To get
I
you
actually have
psyched
them on
up.
at night to go to sleep.
Sorry.
Hitler
It's-
ASMR.
ASMR.
Soothing
Hitler.
music.
Oh god. You
And
see,
then we attach the shower head.
I think
'cause it
this-
gets tight. I'm like, oh, Hitler, please.
these low ratings of metal albums, I think they enhance your next listen, Aiden.
Impossible, because Will picked it especially for me.
Yeah, so I forgot. So the next one was a themed pick again, where we had to pick an album that you think the person who was it the person before you? No, person after
Person
you
after you.
was
Because
supposed to
Will
like.
basically came up with this purely because he found this album and was like, fucking Aiden's gonna love this shit so hard. And so Will walks in, we're doing an album review, and he just slams his fist on the table and he's like, I'm doing this album for Aiden.
That album
And he
being
did.
Dan and Shay, which
It
scored.
always sounds like you've got a problem when you read them twice, as if like you're trying to do a second take before you finish the first.
Just I'll see whichever one sounded best is the one I'll
Yeah,
use.
yeah, we'll take him.
And then I'll just copy that one twice.
Dan and Shay.
This scored
What album?
32.5.
Oh, honestly, it was so good. Still not a true thing.
Aiden's highest rated album. Well, no,
Loved it,
well,
yes.
Aiden's scored highest. Obviously, it was Will's
Sorry.
pick.
Sorry, can you look?
What's up?
So, just everything about this album, and specifically the two things about this album, being the guitar and the singer, and that makes up pretty much the album.
I mean, that's the only two people in the band.
Exactly, it's simplicity.
Apart from
It's
when
so
Kelly
like
Clarkson showed up.
it's so don't talk about her. That was like one of the worst songs.
No, I like
was
that
it my
one.
worst song?
No, I
think
put it
it
in my
was
top
my
3.
worst. No, you're wrong. No, but I'm just like, really dismissive. No, you're wrong. No, Dan and Shay. Oh my god, loved it. Absolutely loved it. We're bringing it down. It's mellow now. I've talked about kicking babies too much. Bringing it back down to Dan and Shay, and you couldn't get any more. Just like it is what it is. It's there. It's so like just. I don't know how to explain it. It's refined simplicity of just a guy and a guy with a guitar.
I think
And
this.
it's just they make shut up. They make great music. Great music.
Speechless.
Speechless is one of my favorite songs of all time now.
Same. Honestly,
It's
just
just so good.
it's so good. I love Speechless.
I really like
Yeah.
this album. And I do think back because it was another Denver denial of Will's True 30s, only giving it a 7.
Yep.
I think there's about 3 of them in total where I denied you a True 30.
Yep.
But again, this was another album which was great as an album, like when you listen to just that album. But anytime any of these songs come up my playlist, I always skip because it's such a different feel to the rest of the playlist that I'm like, have to almost get like a bit sad. I don't know, to like listen to them. At least the ones that I found my favorites.
I feel like it always ends up coming back to the fact that you and Will both have this after review album where you have all your favorite songs on it and stuff like that. And maybe that's like swaying your opinion, like because of these things.
Well, no, but obviously I wrote this score and this review before I had opportunity to do that. No,
exactly. But all I'm saying is I don't want it to affect your judgment in the future. Thinking like, man, would this song sound good on my ultimate playlist?
No, I don't think that. Hence why I would give it, like, because I was really toying with 7, or was it 7.5? Would I rate it a 30 on its own? I was really not sure. Now I am definitely sure that I made the right call, because I don't like them as much listening to them outside of that, listening to that album. But that album was great, but I prefer just albums that are a bit more boppy, I guess would be the word. You know, that you could dance to. That wasn't this, but it was still a really good album.
Yeah, but I'm more of the crying alone kind of guy.
Then again, I gave Lewis Capaldi a high score, so I guess I can't really.
Exactly.
I guess I'm just talking about the hours, really.
Yeah, you know, you're just a hypocritical piece of shit.
I just didn't want Will to get a true 30, okay?
I've said it. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. Realistically, does Will even deserve happiness?
And this was the fourth time in a row I gave Will's pick a 7.
Literally is. I never noticed that.
Man, you're a big fan of Will, but not big enough.
Not big enough to give him a reward. So yeah, like Katy Perry 7, Twin Atlantic 7, Harry Hudson 7, Dan and Shay 7.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, all in all, it's just like it's a 30, but it's not a true 30. And yeah, what do you reckon, Will? So obviously you picked it.
I think the reason I picked it is because I'd heard 10,000 Hours, the song they did with Justin Bieber, and I looked who they were, and then obviously I was like, oh my god, literally perfect for Aiden. Just to get like guy on guitar and a guy who's a really good singer. So I just had to pick it, and to be honest, I think it's great. Although I'm the only one who didn't pick Speechless, aren't I? It's like number 1, but
then didn't this come up again in a later album with like wedding songs? I feel like you're scared. Maybe this shows that you're scared of commitment, Will.
No, I'm not too big a fan of soppy stuff.
Will,
scared of the soppy?
Scared?
I'm not scared of commitment.
Scared of commitment sounds like.
I don't like too soppy stuff though.
This is like therapy. You're scared of commitment, and you didn't like the Hitler jokes.
See, I like the soppy songs, but I feel like I have to almost be like in a darkened room just listening to them. Like I can't hear it in my car as I'm driving to work or something. I'm just like, skip.
It's making sad.
Exactly. So I don't want to hear this. I don't want to start crying as I get to work. God.
I do though.
Yeah, so the next up was Aiden's pick, who had to pick an album for me, who picked Halsey, Hopeless Fountain Kingdom. Is that the name? Hopeless Fountain Kingdom. Fountain.
That's a terrible.
I don't remember that being the name.
Have I written that wrong?
Is it just Hopeless Kingdom? Was there no kingdom? Is it just called Hopeless Fountain?
Hang on.
I know it is Hopeless Fountain Kingdom.
That's a stupid name, Halsey.
I do not remember it being called that.
No, me neither. I was like, have I made a mistake there?
We kind of forgot to mention that there was an underlining like competition with this theme, where the person who you picked it for kind of had to rate it the highest, so you sort of showed that it was deliberately for them.
Yes.
So
right.
I did rate Dan and Shay the highest out of everyone. I rated it at 9.5. Which is
Will,
at the moment the highest I've rated anything.
Yeah, so Will passed. He got you to like it the most.
He passed. He's not tonight's biggest loser.
So then you picked Halsey, with me obviously always preferring songs that had a female artist in them. So
and it was kind of like dance music as well.
So you picked Halsey. Now I only gave it a 6, but that was the highest. No one else gave it higher than a 6.
I passed.
I probably would give it higher now. Or maybe I've just forgotten the other songs in this album. But
there were some weird ones.
Especially my top 3. I really love those top 3 songs. And a lot of the newer music. She's just come out with a new album actually. I haven't heard the whole album. I'm not done a Will Davey and I know the album now, but I've heard a few songs on it that I really like, so I probably would give this maybe a 6.57 now, just based on the fact
I
that
am
like
actually
them
a
more
fan
now.
of it. I'm a fan of their new song. I quite like it.
Yeah, so I definitely this definitely has got me picking Halsey here. Definitely did get me into Halsey a lot more than previously.
Yeah, it didn't me really.
What did you give it? You gave it higher than I did.
Yeah, still wasn't really.
But that's lower, really, isn't it? Because Joe always gives it about 2 higher
That's
than
right.
it should be.
So that's like a 3.
Sorry, yeah.
That's a shame. Will, you got anything to just?
I don't really have anything to say about this album.
This has been the
I
same
remember
thing.
really like Alone. I don't remember that much else about it. I like her voice. I don't think it was her best album though. I think her first album I really liked.
I get the impression, based on the music that she makes, that she's kind of a strange and outgoing person.
She's a very empowering lady. That's kind of one of the reasons she got so big at the start, because everyone's like, "Yes, Queen," and then it's just become this whole thing. So
yeah, but you also don't like Beyonce, do you?
no,
And
I don't.
she's-
But that's because she's shit and overrated as fuck. Whereas I won't say Halsey's overrated. I'd just say that was kind of a thing starting up. But I just think Beyonce is.
Well, it's just
Wait,
not a
when I say
fast
she's
single
shit,
ladies.
You can't
think,
say that.
No, I
about
like
Queen
that
Bee.
song. I think she's got a great voice. I just think she now makes terrible songs for the voice she's got. Whereas Halsey, I think, I don't know. I don't know.
I didn't know Beyonce still made music, to be honest.
Yep, she does. She did like a rap album last time,
Brilliant.
I think. I haven't really
Same.
listened to it, and it wasn't that good. But yeah.
But yeah, they scored 22, so not too great, but not terrible either. Next album I had to pick for Joe. I originally picked Slayer. Do you remember? Because I just thought, what's a horrible metal band?
Didn't
Slayer.
you literally Google just like terrible metal?
Yeah, and Slayer was the first thing that came up. And I picked that. And then even Joe himself says he hates that kind of metal, because apparently there's different types of metal, but I still think it's bullshit.
Who knew?
So Joe said even he wouldn't like it, so then I changed it.
So many different types of metal.
No.
But how do you tell the difference, Joe?
Right, so
Alright, don't give me a lecture now.
No, we don't actually want to know.
Yeah.
Rhetorical question, Joe.
You can tell
Fine.
me outside another time.
Outside.
Outside.
Will's gonna fight you over it.
Tell me outside, lad.
all right, how about that, son?
All right.
Anyway, so I thought, right, what's a bit different-y that we haven't had yet? I picked Linkin Park and then Googled what's their like go-to album, and apparently it's Hybrid Theory. And yeah, it was shit.
Oh boy, were they wrong. This was
I mean,
terrible.
God, awfully.
Yeah, I think it's because even like do you remember the goodish songs they had that was on Transformers films?
Yep.
Like I think that was not this album. I think
No,
it was the
no.
next album. So I'd have probably thought the next album was alright, but it was kind of horrible, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just a mess.
All the songs sounded the same, and like it was just terrible.
And
It still kind of frustrates me that this scored better than most of my metal albums.
only just like holy shit, I only got
Like, yeah, I know, but it only scored worse because I scored it worse. Like, you guys still scored it like 4s and stuff.
well, Aiden gave it a 1.5,
I hated it.
Yeah.
but I did
Yeah.
pass in the test because Joe did rated it equal highest at
Yeah.
4.
That's kind of a pass.
But for the first and only time did two of us agree in every position.
Wait, who did that?
Me and Joe. We got every song the same in the same picture. In the same
You and
position,
Joe?
sorry.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, in the end, number 1, Crawling number 2, Forgotten number 3,
You
and
did.
Cure for
Holy
the Itch is the
shit.
worst.
Nice. I remember
Wow.
because I think obviously you went first, and I remember going, this is going to be a quick review for me when it gets
And
to me.
Will almost did the same again. It was only the third place that was different.
Literally.
Then-
Crazy.
Mm. and then there's nothing else to say about it because it was terrible.
It was horrible. So even
Rest
when
in
I
peace,
changed
Chester.
it, I remember listening to it. I was like, I mean, maybe Slayer would have had a good song on there.
Man, I don't know.
Because In the End and Crawling was the only two I'd heard before, and those were still my top two.
Which is just, but they're both quite bad songs.
Yeah, I kind of maybe like it just for the. I don't know.
In the End has meme potential.
Yeah.
I guess so does Crawling. I remember In the End was on a video that we watched in history of an actual tsunami happening. And it was
I
like
don't know why I'm laughing.
people legitimately being dragged to their death. And it's like, and they tried so hard.
It's just this guy swimming for his life.
It was so sad. But I was like, why is this in
But in the
here?
end, it doesn't even matter.
No.
Oh.
They tried their best. And that was I think it was like it was fairly recent. It was the Japan one.
They tried.
They did, but they didn't. It turns out, not well enough.
But yeah, scored almost. I remember when we were going through this, I was thinking, shit, it's going to get worse than one of Joe's metal albums because it didn't even get a carry off anyone, but it just didn't score as low.
Yeah.
In general.
Just got overall. Just
Sometimes I think if I'm not like, well, like I would put myself in like your shoe and think, well, if I hate this, Joe must love it. That would be what I would be
That's
thinking.
not what we
anyway.
think because we still think that you have some brain cells.
It's just corrupt.
They're just broken.
It's like there's that drive. You've got that hard drive on your computer that's a bit dodgy that you don't really open.
You don't trust it, but it's there,
But it's there.
and that's full of metal music.
Yeah, exactly.
I see.
Next up, The Fame, State of
Fine.
Mind. So this was Joe's pick for Will.
It was. Now I came about this band very randomly through Spotify, and I was just like, I don't really know what to pick for Will. So I found this, and I was like, this seems to be the kind of thing that Will would listen to. So I did it. Don't really remember it, but I did it.
I remember.
me either.
Tongue-tied.
I thought they were quite good. I think
I really like them actually.
You did rate it the highest. So
you did.
Will,
if anything,
Joe
we
did
all
pass.
passed except Denver, who technically failed.
Well, half past.
Sorry, it's
Well-
mixed race, Denver.
Say
Thanks, Joey. Like that.
Oh, fuck, I didn't even get that at first.
No, you didn't get it.
I
Half passed.
half passed because Joe did rate it the highest. If anything, I extra success because someone else loved it just as much.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
That's what I'm going to go with anyway.
Yeah. Go for it. You hypocritical piece of shit.
Yeah, I remember just thinking it was a little bit flat. This
Like
song.
credit card.
This album?
Yeah.
I think, to be fair, that I only remember my actual three. I can't say I remember that much out other than that. I remember him sounding a bit Brendan Urie like. I'm sure. I think that's the first thing me and you said, Aidan. Is that he's got a very good range, and there's parts in his voice that sound very much like Brendan Urie, but it obviously wasn't amazing. I only gave it a 7.5, but I remember it quite well. And I actually knew one song by them before. I think it was like Midland Line or something. Midland Line, and so I really like that song. But that song wasn't even on this album. So
It's like the Mandela effect. It's called
Sorry?
the Davy effect. Will
Yeah.
has to have heard a song from every album that's
Ever
ever come
made.
out.
Otherwise,
Literally.
it just breaks down, just error.
You just don't understand. It's like, Will, you haven't heard this album before. It's like, no, but I must have.
weird.
Somewhere. Must be somewhere in the
I'm always
archive.
listening to music, so it's hard for me not to have listened
What
to
you?
stuff.
What you think you're better than me?
Yeah. Do you know what?
I'm listening
No.
to music right now.
Oh shit!
I just can't help myself, man.
Bruh.
I've always got to be listening to it. So it's just, I don't know. I remember, I think it was a good pick from you, to be fair, Joe, because I think I was always going to like this kind of stuff more than any of you, I think. But it's a bit Don Broco-y in a weird way. They were like
That's
a weird
kinda why I
mix of
picked
pop
it.
punk and Don Broco more
No, let's
like.
not say they're like Don Broco because I rated it a 7. And
They're not like Don Broco, but they have that kind. They have a kind of edge to them, a bit like it. I think they were a weird mix
It
of a
fits in
few
that
different.
genre.
Yeah.
What is that genre, Joe?
Alternative.
Nice.
Definitely not. But
Joe, you sound so different and nasally.
Do I?
no.
I like what you did there, Ian.
Oh,
Oh,
You guys are fucking awful. Like,
Bring back the laughing track.
My jokes are terrible. But like, what the fuck are you guys doing? At least I'm trying. Please.
sorry. I
Please.
feel like your jokes are wasted.
They are wasted on you guys. It's
But sometimes you say them at just the worst time.
the best time.
No.
I have no comedic timing. I will just spout any shit.
And then it's just like the silence, and it's great.
It was like
That's my favorite part. Silence.
Is that your favorite part? Because that's the part that I dread the most.
It's the funny thing is, like, I always remember the jokes afterwards and actually laugh at them, but during, it's always
You're
like a
like,
theme
"What?"
now. Just don't react to it.
Just don't react to
Yeah.
any of Aiden's jokes.
Just don't, you know.
Just can't, man. But no, I don't know what anyone else thought, but I remember liking the album
Well,
quite a bit.
I don't remember it. I'm sorry. Like,
got-
it's just
25.5 though, so it did alright.
it did all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good album.
Good album.
That's-
No one rated it below 5. So.
Quite on par.
Is that our new thing for good? If no one rates it below a 5, it's a true good.
I think that's usually, yeah. To be fair, if no one rates below 5, then it's not. It's an above average album, isn't it? Like, you can't say it's bad, really.
I suppose so.
So that's a good new
Well,
line right there.
6 really.
Denver.
I've done the maths, and William, you are wrong.
I've done the math, and it's really 6 is the number.
Technically, you're
No. I think it's 5. I think it's 5.
No, number 6.
I'll give you the numbers.
He's
Surely.
crunched the numbers.
I think it's 5.
He's done the numbers, and you're wrong, Will.
Moving on. It was my pick.
So not a theme. Next pick was My Chemical Romance: The Black Parade.
Yes, I picked this album because I'd wanted to pick them for a very long while, and as it so happened, I think they announced that they were returning. So I was like, there couldn't be a better time to pick this album. One of my favorite albums of all time. Hence why I rated it so highly. And
So close.
I love
to
it.
30, Will.
Oh, so close.
Who fucked you up?
I wonder who. I wonder who.
I wonder.
Oh shit! I didn't even realise it was me again.
It was you.
But the thing is, you weren't even close to
No, this wasn't.
No.
This wasn't a 7.
You was literally. But to be fair, I didn't expect you to like it at all. But I just remember this album so fondly, and it's one of the albums that got me into music in the first place, thanks to Aiden.
Man, I was gonna say, like, nostalgia runs deep in my veins, along with that Colombian black tar.
I mean, this was the first ever My Chemical
Wasted again.
Romance. This is the first. Oh god, I feel bad now for just like not reacting to that joke.
You don't need to joke about my Colombian drug jokes because they'll find me.
For God's sake, just
Oh
more.
god, but
Just keep talking, Joe. Just keep talking.
So this was the first My Chemical Romance album that I ever listened to. and
Oh yeah, like 3 months ago, I remember.
I remember listening to it. I think I started listening to it. It was like I was late to the whole My Chemical Romance thing. I think it was like the start of college.
You admit it now, but like when we did this album review, you were like, fucking long time fan, huge fan.
Sure.
Literally,
Yeah.
Since they released in 2006.
Long time listener,
7-year-old,
first time caller.
No,
was like,
it must have been quicker than earlier than that for me to make that
it
either.
wasn't.
But
It literally wasn't.
I remember specifically finding Famous Last Words and listening to it on repeat on the bus on the way to college. That's what I remember more than anything out of this band, and that's when I got really into them. Yeah, that's it.
I remember. So you talked about like being late to the bus. I think I obviously just missed the bus and it's gone because I remember I knew how much like Will loved these.
He didn't mention being late for a bus.
No, did he not? I'm pretty sure he said being late.
No, so you've basically it's the classic Denver hasn't.
You listened to half.
You listened to
story,
like two halves of the story and then jammed them together.
Let's
That's
combine.
what he said. No, so the story was I was late to the bandwagon, but I listened to the album on the bus.
Yeah, so Joe said about how he was late to the bus.
You literally
He
just
was late
mashed
for the bus.
Oh, I really don't.
That is so class.
That is such a Denver thing to do.
How did you fucking
I love that it's always when Joe's talking as well. It's no one else. Denver just like blanks out.
So you were late to the bus, huh?
The thing is, he came in so confidently. As if, like, this was the segue to end all segues that he'd come up with.
Oh
The
god.
thing is, it was good. It was a good segue if it made sense.
It just didn't make sense.
Right, I'll just dub it so it makes sense.
No, Denver.
Don't you
You
dare.
gotta keep it like that now.
So anyway,
Oh,
this
class, that's-
band bus wagon, it never turned up for me.
No.
And I thought, oh mate, you see, I've never really got into My Chemical Romance before. Maybe listen to the album, I'll realise what all the fuss is about. But no, the songs I knew were still like meh, and then I didn't like really many other ones. I think I can't really remember it. Not really a big fan. Don't hate it, but it's just like meh. Hence why I gave it a 4. But I still could have given it like a 6, and it would have got a 30. But then it wouldn't have been a true 30 anyway. So.
I feel like this would have just scored higher for me in general, like 3 years ago.
When do you reckon you're gonna go through your emo phase, Denver?
It's coming up when I pick the next metal album.
It's coming up. I'm gonna start like gelling my hair down.
Down.
You know, like where you like pull it down on one
Oh,
side.
across your eye.
Yeah.
He's gonna Toby Maguire him.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. I should do that this
Like-
weekend.
He's gonna get his black Spider-Man suit and he's gonna start wearing
African-American.
jeans. Start like
See, how old was Tobey Maguire
finger
in the
gunning all
movie?
the women, and
Sorry, you can't say finger gunning the women.
that's what. Yes, you can. That,
I didn't hear.
consensual.
I did
That is
not
how
think you said
sensual.
finger gunning.
That's what I said.
It sounded like you just said
Did you
finger.
think I said fingering?
Yeah, I was like, I didn't remember that
Finger
happening in the
blasting.
movie.
Stop
And then I just
fingering
started
women.
blasting.
No, I
That
said
was the
finger.
weirdest part of Sam
Gunning.
Raimi's Spider-Man, where he walks out the hotel and just starts fingering women.
See,
In the street. Oh no!
Come in,
That's
love.
bad. My spidey sense is tingling.
It's pizza time.
Oh.
see, Tobey
That old
Maguire
man you shot down in cold blood. What did it matter to you? It meant everything. I hate that movie.
It's a great movie.
I love it, but I hate it so much.
The original trilogy of the OGs. Oh my god, they're so good. I love
Fucking
him.
Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
He's bringing it back.
I'm crying.
We're done with this album. It was good.
No, I disagree because
You're not allowed.
Tobey Maguire was 31 when he had his emo phase, so I've still got many years.
Nice.
All right. Okay. Now we can move on.
I mean, that's it.
And then we're
I
up to
think-
where we started recording with James Arthur U. So you can go check that one out now and continue the party.
The party's not ever stopped.
The party never stops. All the fingering women and stuff, you know.
Stop.
Never stop.
Stop.
To say that happened
It was all-
it
it was all
says on the
consensual.
screen anyway.
It took us an hour to get to this point where we're just in hysterics.
It's probably taken us about 6 hours, to be honest.
So a few little numbers. So when I said about like, oh, what's the average score and things, the average score it went down since we last. So after 10 picks, we did like a little summary of how things were going. And back then, 23.7. Oh, actually, no, it still said the same. Never mind. Oh, shit, that's because I updated it. But yeah, 23.7 is the average. So if you round it down, so 23.5 is the average album. So you could argue that's the if it gets scores more than 23.5, it's a good album. Still most likely to rate an album the highest is Joe.
Hello.
But only
Still?
just.
I was going to say, that can't be the case, like, surely.
I just rarely rate albums low because when I pick my metal albums, they're always higher, and that's when you guys rate them lower.
No, I thought your logic was like your reviews are like video game reviews. If it's less than a 5, it's not worth looking at.
Yeah, okay to you is a 7, whereas okay to the rest of us is a 5.
No,
You know,
an okay,
like normal reviewers.
an okay to me would be a 6.
It's just.
But it is much closer now. We have all lowered our average ratings.
I mean, we've matured.
So Aiden gives on average a 5.4. I give a 5.7. Joe gives Will gives a 5.2, and Joe gives a 5.3.
Sorry, Will gives on average a lower rating than me.
Oh shit! I said 5. I meant 6. 6 point. Just cross that out. 6.2.
All right, yeah, dub that back in.
Yeah, 6.2.
Wow, Will gives 6.2.
Yeah.
I was gonna say because I, as a teenage angst and My Chemical Romance fan from when the album came out when I was 7 years old, I feel like I've got a lot of pent up anger that I need to express through the work of album review and terribly poorly timed jokes and just horrible racist things that I say. And I can blame all of those things on Joe Midwood and the life experiences he's put me through in the last 7 years.
Fair enough.
Good night, everybody. No. Just
Mic drop.
Boom.
We've also had 11 30s.
Oh my god. How many of them were true?
Really?
3.
Read us the 3.
The 3 true 30s were Panic at the Disco, Pray for the Wicked, Paramore, Brand New Eyes,
Cool.
and Shawn Mendes.
Amazing.
Those are the only albums we all agreed were... Oh no, shit! Sorry, there was one more. The Cab,
Oh.
Symphony Soldier.
Yeah.
Nice.
How many of them were mine?
3.
3 of the top. Ah, I'm winning.
Winning the
I'm
game
album review.
of album review.
But what about normal 30s? How many?
Shit. Oh shit. Will's gonna have
Oh,
more.
you're gonna have to do some quick sums
I
here.
don't think I will have, to be fair.
Hang on, let me...
No, I think I'll have the most 30s.
I think you have 1.
Yeah.
So let's look. Yeah, Joe definitely has 1. And it is the lowest rated 30.
Which means there are 10, which means someone's got to be missing out here.
No, I have 2 30s, don't I?
What's
I
your
have
other one?
Death of Vanna and Lower Than Atlantis.
Was Lower Than Atlantis a 30?
Was it a 30? I can't remember now. We already talked
Lower
about
Than
this.
Atlantis got 29.5.
Oh,
No, it wasn't.
that's so annoying.
But so did James Arthur U, which Aiden picked. That got 29.5.
Well, I'm not as bummed about it because I've got the most 30s.
That was the 2 really close ones. So yeah, let's have a look count. So Aiden has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah! Winning.
I have 1. So that means
1.
1's 4.
Yeah. Not so tough now, are you, Will?
How many did I have?
4. And Aiden has 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the difference is you used to pick them to try and get 30s.
No, I wanted to pick
Don't
them
even
so
lie.
everyone had a good experience.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And Joe was the entire opposite side of the spectrum. He wanted everyone to have the worst time possible.
No,
No,
I don't
actually,
want any...
Joe had the most
want
attempts
everyone-
at trying to get a 30,
I
but just
want to-
failed.
I want to convince everyone to have a good time listening to the better music.
The difference is you get offended by it. You need to be more like Jehovah's Witnesses and just take the door slams as they come. We have slammed the door on you about 6 times. Stop coming to our house.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep coming.
Joe Midwood.
Only
gonna
two,
keep coming.
only 2 10s have been given out. That was by me on Panic at Disco, Pray for the Wicked, and Will on Green Day, American Idiot, but obviously that was a more recent one.
Yeah,
Doesn't deserve that, does it?
No, it didn't. No, not at all.
Not in your eyes, but mine,
do you think
definitely does?
Do you think I mean, we never thought an album would beat Paramore, but do you think an album will ever beat Panic! At the Disco, Pray for the Wicked? Like, to get an album scored that high that we all agree on.
That's going to be rough, isn't it?
It's going to be really difficult.
Unless
It's going to be hard.
I feel like the only way it might be topped is like either a random Ed Sheeran album that somehow me and Will drag it so high up that it just gets pinned there.
Like you gave it like 10s.
Or if like so picture this in your mind that like you know when you see those pictures of like giant mythical beasts and then like one guy with a sword and it's usually captioned something. If Brandon Urie's Pray for the Wicked is the massive like Dark Souls boss, I think the only one that might be able to slay it in the future is Lewis Capaldi. And possibly an album that he comes out with.
No, I reckon Mendes could do it.
Mendes could do it. Lewis Capaldi and Mendes combined.
Or Panic. Brendan Urie could beat his own album.
Well, the next album's metal. Joe said so.
Because, I mean, the fourth highest rated album was Panic, the other Panic album, so...
Yeah, that was a good album.
That only missed out on being a true 30 because of me, again.
Yeah, but I think I picked that one. And that's because I think that's probably still my favourite, to be fair. You got any closing statements of the fact that we've been doing this for an entire year now? Or well, over a year?
It's cool that we've got this much of a commitment to it and we're going to carry on doing it. It's fun.
I can't believe we have actually just kept doing it. Considering when we just started it, like, it was just kind of, well, I heard it in the Triforce podcast because Sips was doing, he wasn't doing what we do, but like,
Inspired
they were kind of just talking about classic albums. And then I put it in the chat, and then Denver, you said that you had already listened to this somehow.
Yeah, somehow
you were going to say the same thing.
already, before you put that in the chat, I'd already said something to Aiden about doing something like this. And it was mental. So it's like, we have to do it. I mean, we have done a lot of that. Obviously, we've dropped off the pace a lot since trying to do this. I mean, the last album we did was end of January. And that was album 77. Like, when you go through them one by one, it's like, it doesn't seem that many. But when if you said to someone, I've listened to 77 different albums this year, they'll be like, holy shit. So
yeah.
I don't think I'd ever even listened to 50 albums before we did this.
In your entire life.
It was crazy when the Spotify thing came out, and like previous to doing an album review, my listen time was like 12,000, and now after album review, sorry, it's like 12,000 hours. Sorry, or minutes. I don't. What was it? Does anyone know?
I think it's
Is it
minutes.
12,000 hours.
I feel like you should have looked this up before you started making this point.
Hold on, I've got it right here. It's minutes, yeah. So previous to album review, it was 11,000 minutes, and now it's 26,000 minutes. I know Will's is a lot higher than that, but it's like more than doubled for me how much I've listened to music, which is insane.
I think it's good. I think we've found new stuff. We've realised how shit some stuff is compared to other stuff. But not only that, I think in a weird way, it's kind of forced us to commit to something, which is quite cool. And I think it's brought us closer as mates because we've been forced to talk to each other more often.
That's wholesome. Forced to talk to each other.
But in a weird way, we have. Like,
yeah,
we've had to come like, well, most of the time. There was a time when we were doing it like twice a week.
Yeah, twice a week, like in the early days. And
I think it's definitely taught us a lot more about each other and stuff. And I think it's great that we've done this. And I can't wait for more albums to come up. Yeah, I just think it's good.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
That's really cool.
It's going to be so weird now to get back into the groove because it's been so long since we've had to listen to an album for it and actually do a proper.
I cannot wait.
It's been 3 months.
So come on, Joe.
So
Hit us with
this
what,
brings us on
what
to the
albums.
next album. Now, here's the thing with this next album. This is my favorite album of all time.
So this is your 10.
This theoretically should be a 10, but we'll see.
Should be, could be.
Should be, could be. This is Mayday Parade, A Lessons in Romantics.
Did you mean to put the S's on the end of those words?
What did I say? Lessons in Romantics.
Yeah.
Sorry. Is
It's
it
like it's your favourite album of all time.
and I can't pronounce it. I can't pronounce it.
Welcome to Payday Parade.
And cut.
That's just it. You just cut him.
Fantastic.
Great.
We'll see
Did
if
it,
this
lads.
is... Fucking hell, I'm not going to look forward to editing this shit.